Well, hey, it's time for Ask the Tech Guys. I'm Leo Laporte. Coming up, our home theater geek, Scott Wilkinson, explains the real reason Walmart wants to buy Vizio.
And I'm Mikah Sargent, and we help an author figure out how to create an audiobook.
And then I'll show you the perfect photo frame for Grandma. It's all coming up next on Ask the Tech Guys.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Mikah Sargent and Leo Laporte, episode 2014. Recorded Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. Picasa es su casa. Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by Ecamm, the leading live streaming and video production studio built for Mac. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, Ecamm is here to elevate your video production. From streaming and recording to podcasting and presenting, Ecamm Live is your all-in-one video tool perfect for simplifying your workflow. Ecamm Live includes support for multiple cameras, screen sharing, plus the live camera switcher lets you direct your show in real time. Frankly, if we were starting today, we wouldn't have built this big studio. We wouldn't have bought all those cameras. We would have used Ecamm. That's the modern way to do a show. Stand up from the crowd with high-quality video. You can add logos, titles, lower thirds, graphics, pretty much do everything we do. Share your screen, drop in video clips, bring on interview guests, use a green screen, and so much more. Join the thousands of worldwide entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, and other Mac users who rely on Ecamm Live daily. Get 1 month free when you subscribe to any of Ecamm's plans. That's ECAMM. Visit ecamm.com/twit. And don't forget to use the promo code TWIT at checkout. Well, hey, it's time for Ask the Tech Guys. That there's Mikah Sargent.
Oh, and that there's Leo Laporte.
And we are going to answer your tech questions today like crazy.
Boy, howdy we are.
Like crazy. We've got Scott Wilkinson coming up, your home theater geek.
Yes.
We've got Johnny Jet, your traveling guy.
Zoom.
We've got questions. We've got videos. We've got all sorts of stuff. We have I have a couple of products to show you. It's going to be a good one. 888-724-2884 is the phone number. If you're watching the show live between 11 and 2 Pacific time, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday, you can call that number and get through, 888-724-2884. Or you can Zoom us.
You can Zoom us by going to call.twit.tv on your device of choice. You can use a phone. We suggest that because it's got the camera built in. It's got the microphone right there built in. And so it's a great way to get connected. You can also do that from your computer. You'll be taken to a Zoom room where you will hang out and wait to have yourself brought up on stage where you'll be able to ask your question. We do ask that if you are hanging out in the Zoom room, that you look toward the bottom of the UI, the user interface, for a little hand. Tap or click on that hand. That's the raise hand button. And that lets us know that you do genuinely have a question for us and that you're not simply hanging out, which is fine. You can hang out if you'd like to. When you call that number, you actually also appear there too, but you don't have to worry about hitting that hand button. Instead, when you're brought up, you need to hit *6 or *6 to be unmuted so that you can actually ask your question. The other way to get in contact with us is atg@twit.tv. That's the email that you can send text, video, audio, all those kinds of questions can go there as well. And I'm going to ask our intrepid producer if he wouldn't mind bringing up Zoom on this monitor over here for me so that I can keep an eye on things.
I want to see what's going on in the Zoom room. Now, this is a jam-packed show, so we're going to get right to it. First of all, I usually save the sad for the end. But I didn't want to really make this one the end because one of our heroes, our great friends, a guy we really love, passed this week at the age of, 83. You may have noticed that we use these microphones everywhere on our shows, and many of our contributors are also using these microphones. I discovered these microphones in 2006 when I won. John, you were with me, weren't you? In Ontario, California, at the Podcast Expo. I think it was the second Podcast Expo in 2006, and as we won the best podcast for Twit, I think, and this was the prize. And I thought, oh, how nice, a microphone. I have hundreds of these, but I connected it up, and I started talking into it. And I said, this is the best microphone I have ever used. And that's when I met the guy in a purple blazer named Bob Heil. Bob was a legendary, he was an interesting fellow. I read his obituary, by the way, on the funeral home site. And I learned something, a lot that I didn't know. For instance, he began performing he was a great organist. And at the age of 15, he became a professional, playing on the Wurlitzer Theater organ at the fabulous Fox Theater in St. Louis. Stan Can was his teacher and mentor, legendary organist. So he was a great organist.
So he was a Missourian.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
He's
where I'm from.
Yeah. It says in the obituary, because he had to tune this giant Wurlitzer with all of its pipes, thousands, literally, of pipes, he was taught, it says, how to listen, mentally dissecting discrete tones. And that led him to his second career, which, he started building pipe organs, but the second career really was, he opened Ye Olde Music Shop, a professional music shop in Marissa, Illinois. Eventually became the company Heil Sound. And rock and roll musicians started to come to him. In fact, if you watch our triangulation with Bob, he does tell this story. He started to come to him and ask him to design their sound systems. He designed for the Grateful Dead. He did the quadraphonic sound for The Who's Quadrophenia.
Wow.
Because the Grateful Dead came to St. Louis in February 1970 without a sound system, they went to Ye Olde Music Shop, and Bob said, I'll set you up. He provided his sound system. And from then on, Bob joined the Grateful Dead on the road, toured with The Who in their tour, which I saw in 1971, The Who's next tour. He also invented something that you'll probably know well if you loved the album, which was at the time the #1 album, called Frampton Comes Alive. Do you remember Peter Frampton going, I want... Oh.
Yes.
It was a talk box. Bob tells a story that Frampton's wife said, I need something for Peter's birthday. Can you come up with something? And Bob made what was called the Heil Talk Box, which was a hollow tube into a little amplifier that the guitarist would put in his mouth. It would play the music from the guitar into the tube, which he would then shape with his mouth into the microphone. And it gave it that wow. So he was able to talk with his guitar. It made Frampton Come Alive the #1 album of 1976. I vividly remember that sound. It was like, oh, I've never heard anything like this. Joe Walsh later picked it up with the Eagles. It's, in fact, the only manufacturer featured in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland because of that. I can go on and on. He was really a legend, but we know him best as a ham radio operator. He'd become a ham at the age of 13. His call sign, K9EID, was his call sign for his entire life. He built transmitters, and he got into the microphone business because he hated the sound of ham microphones at the time. So he said, I'm going to build a better microphone. And
I love that when people get into a business because there's something, they get into something because there's something they want to fix. You know what I mean? I love
exactly.
that. That's great.
So we had, of course, Bob was the originator along with Gordo of our Ham Nation show back 2011 when we started that. That's why we have the whole radio corner over here with the ham radio kit and all of that from ICOM. And Bob was a great Elmer for hams like me, getting me started in the amateur radio field. And of course, very much a teacher and a leader in ham for many, many years. Heil Sound makes all our microphones. We'll continue to make all our microphones. But Bob Heil passed after about a year's battle. We knew he was not doing well with cancer this week at the age of 83. R.I.P. to the great Bob Heil. I'm sure he's up there in his purple choir outfit making the Heavenly Choir sound so much better. We will miss you, Bob. One of the greats in our business and in many businesses. Really a legend. Thank you, Bob. And lots of love to his wife and family that he leaves behind. His wife was quite devoted and a wonderful, wonderful person. We miss them, and we're going to send some flowers in your behalf to the family. All right, but there's also news.
Yeah, actually,
there's other stuff.
To keep it a little bit in the sad space, but not entirely, I did want to briefly mention the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, has come together, as they always do, and announced kind of data of the previous year of how scams and all spams and everything in between kind of went down. And according to the FTC, in 2023, people lost $10 billion this past year.
Oh, my God. And that's just people who admit it.
Exactly. Yes. Those are the people who file the complaints. Exactly. Yeah. What's interesting is this is $1 billion more than the year before, but the same number of reports. So what they're seeing is an increase in how much money people are losing. And I wanted to mention, because all of you out there, if you directly have not been impacted by something like this, you probably know someone who they've attempted to be impacted by it. They've had an attempt against them.
We all have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone listening who hasn't gotten that text message that says, hey, I can't make it to my dentist appointment tonight. Can you reschedule? Or, Bob, are you ready for lunch? Or
my
whatever.
mom literally just texted me last night and said, is this a scam? And it was a fake USPS.
That's
your
a big
package
one.
wasn't delivered. Yeah, it's very popular around gift-giving holidays in particular.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention the biggest scam of 2023 was the imposter scam. That is where they pretend to be your bank's fraud department. They pretend to be the government, perhaps a relative in distress, a well-known business or a technical support expert. We've seen those scams try to crop up here with people attempting to come off as if they're Lisa, and then we know, no, that's not Lisa who's asking for
There was just
gift
another
cards.
one last week.
Yeah, they're back again. And then the second one
So awful.
is investment scams. And as you might imagine, a big part of that is cryptocurrency. So this is just kind of your reminder that
It ain't what it seems.
No, it ain't what it seems. Continue to be skeptical and continue to remind your family to be skeptical. More than anything else, continue to remind your family to be skeptical.
Yes.
I found it interesting that, again, of the people who reported and who actually reported their age in the report, younger adults, ages 20 to 29, reported losing more money more often.
Because they think they're immune.
Than the older
I'm
adults.
smarter. I'm not going to fall for this.
The unfortunate thing is, with the younger adults, they were losing smaller amounts of money. Older adults lost more money than younger adults. So it tended to be kind of larger amounts of money that were lost. So yeah.
And if you're wondering who does this, watch Sundays Last Week Tonight. You can see it on YouTube. John Oliver did a really good segment on that thing called pig butchering.
Oh, yeah.
Which is those text messages that you get. And instead of yelling at the person who's sending you the message or messing with them, watch the segment, because it turns out these people are also victims. They're held basically in internment camps, their passports taken away, beaten, and forced to perpetrate these scams on you for the bad guys. It's a shocker. New York Times exposed this 6 months ago, but I think it's great that John Oliver did his usual treatment of this, and it's worth watching, or maybe even sharing with family and friends. Pig butchering is another one of those big scams. We all get those text messages.
Yeah. I'm going to keep an eye on those. And anytime kind of a new one crops up, I will bring it up on the show so we can kind of talk about it, and you can tell your family about it as well.
That's one of our jobs, actually, is to let you know what's going on.
What to be on the
out
lookout
there.
for.
The other job is to buy stuff late at night on Instagram. I don't know if you knew that was my job. I'm very good at it.
You are super. So I hope you get a promotion.
You want to touch me?
Is that the sweater?
Made out of seaweed.
I've been waiting for the seaweed sweater.
The seaweed sweater is here. You know what? I love
Is it soft?
Yeah, go ahead. Just, it's not. Basically, the reason I've been
I couldn't
looking
tell the
for
difference
this,
between that and wool.
Yeah, so the reason I've been looking for this is Lisa's deathly allergic to wool. She gets hot, breaks out in hives. I mean, really, once we went to try on a cashmere dress she didn't know was cashmere. She said, get this off of me. And she had hives up and down her back. because instantly reacts. So I'm looking for some, because I love wool. I have wool. Before I met my wife, I had wool blankets, wool sweaters, wool socks, wool everything. So I'm eliminating the wool from my life, but I love wool. So I was looking for something. So I asked her to touch this. She said, well, it's scratchy, but I'm not reacting allergically to it. But to me, it is. It's just like a nice thin wool sweater. So Dr. Mom said that this fabric, it's not a fabric, this textile is called sea cell. It's made out of seaweed harvested in Iceland, so very clean waters.
Sea cell.
She sells
by the Icelandic shore.
And then sea cell is this is from a company called Oliver Charles, but there are other companies that sell this. Oliver Charles. And I think it's a very nice sweater. I purposely ate in it, which meant food was dribbled down the front, and I washed it.
The test.
And it's washed. It didn't do any. I didn't dry clean it. It's washed just beautifully.
Are those corduroy pants? They have like a sort of vertical striping to them.
Do you want me to talk about my Instagram pants?
Those are Instagram.
Yeah, of course they are. What isn't Instagram?
The full Instagram today.
The
what about
shoes,
that
the pants?
ring on your finger? I see that's a new ring.
My new ring. Well, that's another story for another day.
Okay,
but Lisa gave me that. I lost my great-great-grandfather's snake ring when I was in 7th or 8th grade. My grandmother gave it to me. Foolishly, as it turns out.
Oh, yeah. That's young
to be giving
it. Yeah.
Beautiful gold ring with a ruby head, and I think actually it was a diamond head and ruby eyes. It was beautiful. And I put it in my locker in the gym, and somebody stole it. Somebody saw me wearing it.
That's so frustrating.
Some other kid, some annoying kid, and it's probably disappeared. My wife, I told Lisa about it some while ago. She found one for me.
Oh.
And it's from 1887. It's vintage. They shined it up too much. I have to tarnish it.
Yeah, you gotta wear it.
But it's vintage. It's 1887,
so cool.
and it is almost identical.
Oh, that's
to
amazing.
my great-grandfather's snake ring. So thank you, Lisa. I have a very nice wife.
It was giving heirloom, so that's why I was.
It's one of those estate sales. Well, as long as we've digressed, let's talk a little bit about the news. There's only really 2 stories worth talking about. We'll talk about more today on Twit, which is coming up. Got Taylor Lawrence is coming by and others. But we will, I'm sure, be talking about the fact that Apple has gotten out of the car business. Kind of a shocker.
Yeah, we were caught off guard for sure. This is something that they had been working on for quite some. Well,
never announced.
Rumored to be working on for quite some time. A large team, again, allegedly, a very large team that was working on it, and we've seen. Again, alleged reported shuffles of the team. So to hear that suddenly they've decided, again, reportedly not to go forth with the car. After there were reported changes that originally it was going to be a self-driving electric vehicle. Then they thought, okay, maybe we'll ditch the self-driving component and we're just going to make an electric vehicle. And now to see them again, reportedly make an announcement within the company saying the self-driving car, Project Titan, is closing down, and we're going to take some of the team and move them to our generative AI efforts. That's that.
You know, when you never announce something, and it's all rumors to begin with, and then another rumor is you're not going to make it, did it ever exist?
Right. If Project Titan falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it.
Did it ever exist? The New York Times had a good story which said basically it was a debate about whether they really wanted to beat Tesla. This is always a mistake when a company says, and Apple never did this in the past, like, we're gonna get those guys.
Right.
They wanted to beat Tesla. And what they wanted to do was do what's called level 5 auto self-driving. Their initial design didn't have a steering wheel, didn't have brakes, didn't have pedals.
That sounds so frightening to me.
They couldn't do it. They can't do it today.
Yeah.
And eventually it's like, well, okay, I guess we could make a car that was the rumor a month ago. Okay, we give up on that. We're going to make a normal car. Then they realized, well, there's no money in that.
Yeah, why do that? Why would we do that?
We're not beating Tesla, so screw it. So I think Tim Cook just sent out a memo and said, Apple car, screw it.
I can only have one risky project going at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Although rumors are the Vision Pro is selling very, very well, better than expected.
Yeah, and returns are down to 1% according to those reports.
Good news. Did you return yours?
Yeah, ours was, I just got the email the other day that said
got it.
it.
You had till the leap day to make it.
Yeah. I was a little worried because I sent it in much earlier and I kept waiting for that email to come in, kept waiting. Finally, I got it from Apple. They said, we've got it. We're good to go.
888-724-2884 is the phone number. 888-724-ATTG. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make that up?
Nope.
I didn't have a dream that was the number? Okay, good.
That is truly the number.
And if you get in, hang in there. We'll get to you. We see we have quite a few callers. What would you like to start with? Super producer John Ashley. Welcome back, by the way. We missed you last week.
Thank you. I just picked up on Anthony. I'm just going to make sure that he's all set.
Anthony, come into the Stargate. Well, yeah, move that giant. I'm going to explain what this giant battery is when I do my show and tell later. But hi, Anthony.
Hi, Leo and Mikah. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you great. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Silver Lake, California. Oh, my goodness, I'm on screen.
You're on in the Stargate. Welcome to the show. What's up,
Thank
Anthony?
you. Well, I need to take issue, first of all. I think you both rank right up there with the best comedians I've ever heard.
Now you're joining us because that was hilarious.
We should explain that before the show began, we read an email from a disgruntled listener who said, "Cut the comedy, you're not funny." So thank you, Anthony.
That's very kind.
Thank you, Anthony.
Of course. And my daughter, who's 21 now, probably for 15 years at dinner parties with, if ever somebody asked me, well, Anthony, what's one of your hobbies? Oh, the tech guy, Leo Laporte.
Oh, thank you.
And we actually have a picture with you at the Brick House, Leo. So,
nice. How old was she then?
I'm in there.
That must have been 8 years ago. She must have been just a kid.
Yeah, well, she was a kid.
Yeah.
Yep, she was a kid.
Nice.
And I just have to say, Mikah, I'm in love with Leo, but man, I'm falling in love with you.
Isn't he great?
So,
Thank you.
Isn't he great?
he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We
Just
searched
fantastic.
long and wide. We had a big talent search. We had to sing and dance and tell jokes.
Yeah.
And
From the flyover state? That's where we found that guy?
Yeah, we found this guy. We never thought we would. He got the golden ticket to come to Hollywood. And no, we're so lucky to have Mikah here. I agree.
The dynamic duo. So
Yeah.
I was wondering about how best to do a audiobook, and wondering if you can actually do something like that using the iPhone, their voice memo thing, or...
So you want to record an audiobook yourself is what you're saying?
Yeah, I did this crazy thing and wrote a book for the first time.
Congratulations.
Tell us about your book.
Wow. It's called The Old Ones, 3 words, The Old Ones, by Anthony Henderson, available on Amazon.
Congratulations. That's
amazing.
great. Self-published?
Self-published. And you know what? If I ever had any bad things to say about Jeff there, that guy who owns Amazon, I take it all back.
Oh, they make it easy, don't they?
It was fantastic. KDP. Kindle Direct Publishing was absolutely amazing. Oh, there you got it. There it is.
Now, I noticed it's on Kindle Unlimited, which means I can read it for free because I subscribe. Do you mind if I do that, or should I buy it? Do you get paid for Kindle Unlimited?
Yeah, but the paperback is a little bit better profit.
Okay.
For profit, and
Okay.
plus, you're holding a paperback, and that experience is a little bit different. Though I love my Kindle as well.
Yeah. So this is exciting. This is great. Is it sci-fi?
Well, no. You know what I wanted to do is to give an LGBTQ voice to enslaved Americans.
Oh.
Wow. You didn't bite off a little bit. You bought off a big bite.
Leo, I was a crazy person, so I decided to do
You self-published a book about the LGBTQ experience in enslaved America. Holy cow. That book's going to get banned in every state. For many reasons. No, I think this sounds wonderful. This sounds like a story that needs to be told.
Right now.
Well, and I also deal with mental illness in there too, because the LGBTQ angle wasn't enough. So I have the mental illness in there too.
Wow.
It's my fiction family that I personally fell in love with, and you'll read some reviews on there, and other people seem to had fallen in love with that family too. So it's obviously very close to my heart. And I thank you guys so much for putting it up. I absolutely appreciate it.
The Old Ones by Anthony Henderson. Buy it.
So, to go to your question.
Be nice to see. You've got Kindle Unlimited. You've got paperback. Wouldn't it be nice to have an Audible button there?
Here's the thing. I think that if you had just said, oh, I'm sort of playing around, I'm thinking about, doing an audiobook. It wasn't necessarily a book that was published on, and available on Amazon and has a paperback, like all of that, then I would have let you settle for just using your iPhone and the Voice Memos app. But I'm not going to let you settle.
Yeah, we got to do a little better than that.
We got to do better than that, because you want this to sound good. You want this to be something that people find just as valuable as the book. You don't want to give them to start listening to the audiobook and then go, oh, I can't stick with this because the audio is hard to listen to or has some,
right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you want to give your material the best shot that it has. And absolutely. And so because of that, I think that in this case, it is worth making some level of investment.
Not a lot.
It doesn't have to be a lot. Just some level of investment where you have a microphone that is separate from the device that's recording, so that you are able to isolate that sound and make sure that little taps on the table or whatever else is happening around you isn't causing issues. And there's one place you can go if you kind of want to go all in one, doesn't require a whole lot of extra work. And then we'll hear Leo's take, because I know it's going to be different from mine. So my suggestion for you, if you just want to go with something that's as easy as possible, kind of you don't have to do a whole lot, Elgato has started to make really good quality microphones. That's elgato.com, elgato.com. And they have...
And Mikah,
yes.
I'm sorry. I thought I had a notepad in front of me. I'm going to run and get
No. We'll put this in the show notes. You don't have to.
Yeah, you'll have it. We'll have it for you in the show notes.
And then we'll send you a framed copy of your call. So you'll have it all. You'll have it all available to you.
Yeah. Afterwards, you could go to twit.tv/ATG.
Thanks, guys.
And only pay $4.95 for shipping and handling.
So
you got it. You got it.
Elgato makes a microphone called the Wave 3. And this is a microphone that our producer and editor Anthony Nielsen uses on the regular.
No kidding.
Yeah, and a lot of streamers, people who play video games and stream, they use these microphones.
It's kind of the choice of the Twitch crowd.
Of the Twitch community.
Yeah.
So with that, it's a very simple device. You can plug it into your computer and then do the recording there. Now, Leo, I'm wondering if you're going to suggest Zoom.
Here's what I'm going to say. Anthony, you could record it yourself. That's the cheapest, easiest way to do it. May not produce a version that Audible wants to pick up. But, just like Amazon has its Direct, which you use to publish, there's ACX. Do you know about ACX?
No, I've never heard of it.
ACX is the Audible equivalent of Amazon Direct Publishing. If you're already in the Amazon chain, which you are, it's a very simple thing then to go to ACX, the Audible, what do they call it? The Audible Creators Exchange, I guess.
Audiobook Creation Exchange.
Audiobook, but it's for Audible, okay? Because Amazon owns Audible, right? Mm-hmm. And show my screen if you would, John, Ashley. So this is all that you need to know, and I think a better way to do it. It's the same thing that you just did for your book.
Yeah, this is good.
As audio. Now, the one thing that they suggest, and I think they're not wrong, is you can be a narrator and do it yourself, and they'll give you some suggestions and so forth. But you can also hire narrators. They have freelance narrators that you can use. And look, a lot of people, there's more than 292,000 titles that have been published this way.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Yeah.
You already pursued the process of publishing yourself with Amazon. This is just the audiobook version of it. Mm-hmm. And they have some narrators that you might want to look at that might be perfect for this. It really depends. But I would suggest, before you do a lot of investment into setting up a studio for yourself, that you just look at what they're recommending, because I want you to sound as good as possible, right? To reach the largest audience. I don't want you to spend a lot of money, but I suspect because it comes from Amazon, it's going to be similar to the Amazon Direct Publishing. By the way,
that looked fantastic.
it puts it not only on Audible and Amazon, but it also sends it to iTunes. So if it's a way to reach the largest possible audience, and I think given what your book is about, that's really I suspect you wrote it not just as an exercise in fun, but you really had a message, and you want to get that message out.
Amen. Yeah.
And I think that this is a very important message, frankly. So this might be the way to do it. They have lots of information about how to do it, that, you know, and including an article, as you can see here, of setting up your own home recording studio. They may be a little fancier than what Mikah just described.
Indeed.
But it, you know, I have to say, there's a standard of quality that Audible's going to expect, and you want to meet that standard. Otherwise, you know, they may say, well, you got to go back and do it again, or so forth.
Yeah, it's kind of like Netflix doesn't just take any movie. You got to meet their standards.
They describe it at this website. They describe the M Audio recording bundle, the PreSonus audio box bundle, this Focusrite Scarlett, which we send out to many of our people. But I think also the Elgato would be of the same quality in there. So there's a lot of information there. There's also information, maybe even more important than the technology of recording yourself, of how to narrate.
Yeah.
And there's a very good,
it is a learned skill.
Yeah, there's a very good article. Actually, it's a series of videos that they offer called Performance, the Craft of Audiobook Narration, which, I mean, honestly, I've done audiobooks. I did one for Audible, a short one, and then I did one for Corey Doctorow, and it's very, very hard. And I have 50 years as an announcer. It's a very hard thing to do and to get right. So at least watch this. There's a master class with real audiobook narrators. They will walk you through, you know, what you need. It's acting.
It is.
And in your book especially, because you have all these great characters.
You really want them to come to life.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that, because it's narrative as well as dialogue heavy.
So you might want actors. You might want more than one performer, right?
Yeah, and I did it for 10 years, and you know, I trained to do that for about 10 years.
Oh, all right.
So I got to experience in that area, and what has really been fun is just frankly learning how to do all this stuff. Yeah.
So,
you know.
So definitely check out the Audiobook Creators Exchange. Lots of good information there. If you already are an actor, you know, you're in good shape. See, being an announcer wasn't really good training for this. Being an actor is the training you want. And if you look at who's narrating for Audible, it's almost all actors, not announcers. Announcers talk like this.
Yes.
Actors really, you know, embody the character that the book is narrating. So yeah, you may need you may want some friends to come in and be the different voices for the characters. But if you do a good job of this, I think Audible will pick it up like that. This seems like something you really do want to get out there. I think that's great. The old ones, Anthony Henderson. I can't wait to read it.
I know.
Micah's already bought it.
Mine's on the way.
And
wow.
I think this is a very exciting idea, and I want you to make it a great audiobook.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna, you know, I'll to your point, Leo and Mikah, I will absolutely move aside to put the best voice forward is the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it might be you. Please don't think I don't think it's you. It might well be you.
Yeah. But I think what you're both saying is that, you know, I just want it to be as good as it can be.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly.
Because this book is important, and you have an important story to tell, and you want to make sure that people don't miss the point by saying, God, I don't understand what he's saying, or, you know, I like it, but there's so much noise in the background, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You want to present it to them in a way that gets out of the way so they can hear what you're saying.
And, real quickly, and I know we have to go. The reason I wanted to do an audiobook is because I'm hearing from so many people that that's their preference in
It's mine.
I want to say reading, but that's their preference in consuming, I guess is a better way to say it. Books, they actually prefer an audio version of it. So I was just thinking that, that's something I got to do here.
Well, especially since you have these different characters, you have a narrator, but you have these different characters. I think it could come to life.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe your background in theater has helped you because you're writing, almost writing a play. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, it's been a labor of love, and I'm looking forward to taking it to the next level.
Anthony, I'm so proud of you that you did
congratulations. This is great.
Wow.
You guys, oh my goodness, my heart's beating fast. I love you.
And we just want to support it and say, let's do this. Let's get this thing done. That is awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, Anthony. I can't wait.
Thank you, and you're both very funny. So.
Huzzah!
Funny looking. Funny how? Do we amuse you? Thank you, Anthony.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
I never wanted to be funny. I only wanted to be mildly amusing. I figured that was the highest I could aspire to, is mildly amusing at times.
I just want to be entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
I strive to be entertaining.
And the worst thing in the world is somebody who tries to be funny.
Yeah.
And isn't.
Ooh. That makes everybody uncomfortable.
That's not good. John Ashley, we have about 15 minutes before the great Scott Wilkinson Home Theater Geek.
Yeah.
I think we could do another call. I think we should take a break.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then you decide what we're going to do next. Should it be an email, a voicemail, a video, or a call? You get to choose.
Definitely a video question.
Oh, you're really pushing it this time. We'll see. Our show today brought to you by Wix. Oh, folks, Wix is amazing. Wix Studio. But I got a little debate for you. Who gets the most out of Wix Studio? Is it the designers or is it the developers, right? First of all, if you've not heard of Wix Studio, it's the web platform offering the flexibility agencies and enterprises need to deliver bespoke sites hyper efficiently. Sites that reflect exactly what you, and they're not cookie cutter, right? But before we get to that, let's get back to the debate. So I'll pitch for designers. For designers, you can create fully responsive websites. You could start with a blank canvas. You could choose a template for any layout. You could tweak per pixel with your CSS. If no code is your thing, you'll love this. If you like to move fast, there's also a ton of smart features, native no-code animations. You're seeing some of them on the screen if you're watching the video. Responsive AI, and this is AI put to a good purpose. For instance, it will adjust every breakpoint automatically. For devs, all right, let's look at the developers. Wix Studio offers a powerful suite of homegrown web APIs and REST APIs. You can quickly integrate, extend, and write custom scripts in I love this, a VS Code-based IDE. Got all the code completions and, yes, an AI code assistant to help you. All wrapped in a rock-solid, auto-maintained infrastructure. So, here's the choice. AI that writes your code or fixes your breakpoints. Fully responsive editor or zero setup dev environment. No code animations or no code animations. Designers or developers, it doesn't matter. Search Wix Studio and find out for yourself. You're going to love this thing. This is what you've been looking for. Wix.com/studio. Wix, Wix.com/studio. Or we've got a link on our show notes. You can click that and find out more. Wix.com/studio. Thank you, Wix, for your support of Ask the Tech Guys. Sometimes with a pinky ring, you kind of, maybe it makes me like a Dr. Evil type because it kind of, I notice now, I've only been weighing it for a little bit, but I start to do pinky ring kind of things, which is not probably the best. All right. What are we doing, John Ashley? You got to pick.
Hi, guys. Christopher from Lakeland, Florida. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm trying to transition my family over to password management, and I need a relatively quick and painless way to do that transition. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, bless.
With a hammer.
Christopher from Florida. If there was a painless way to do this, I hope that I would know it. It's hard in terms of. So okay, let me explain. If you're talking about convincing family to do it, it's difficult. If you're talking about you've already got them on board, you just need to sort of onboard them. I agree that by saying I agree, there's chat in the Discord. Find whatever password manager you're going to use. Bitwarden is a sponsor on the network. Look for the group plan and then work through the group plan, because the great thing about almost every password manager's group plan is that it comes with a nice little built-in feature where if one of the people on your plan forgets their master password, you can kind of send them away to undo a boo-boo.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So that's my main suggestion. It gives you just a little bit more help for them as they're getting used to password management than you would otherwise have if everybody's kind of created their own account and then they're suddenly locked out of all of their passwords.
This is a tough one,
Yeah.
and I wish I could say I'd had some success in doing this.
I
and
have not.
I set up my mom with LastPass back in the day, and it fell by the wayside. This is the biggest problem. So first of all, we should explain why you want to do this. Because your family members aren't using a password manager right now, whenever they need to make a password, they're reusing an existing password, or they're trying to remember a slight modification to an existing password. They're trying to either remember their passwords, which, by the way, any password you can remember is not a good password, period. Put that in writing. Any password you can remember is not a good password. It's certainly a degraded password over one you can. Secondarily, maybe they're smart. They're writing it down, okay? My mom had a lot of Post-it notes, and she had a book. And at some point, they're going to say, I can't find it.
Yep.
I can't find it. The third thing they may, which, it's frustrating. The third thing they may be doing, and by the way, this is what comes after I can't find it, is I don't remember my passwords. I just always say I forgot.
Yep. That's their password. Their password becomes that I forgot button. That's how they log in.
And then they go through the rigmarole of going to the email and getting the password reset
and getting
making
so
up a new
frustrated
password
every time.
Yeah, they're not going to use. I think the easiest kind of password to use to begin with is the one built into the browser. It's not our preference, but it's certainly better than anything else I just described. So if you could just get them to start letting the browser do it, if everything's Apple,
yeah,
that's the easiest.
That's what I've gotten my family to do. They use iCloud's keychain.
But they have to use Safari. They can't use Firefox or Chrome. They have to use Safari. They have to use an iPhone and a Mac and an iPad. They have to be all in on Apple, and they have to even down to the browser software, right?
Yes and no. Well, if you're doing it on the Mac, then yeah, you need it to do with the browser. If you're doing it on your phone, you could use another browser, and iOS itself will suggest the password.
So even if you're using Firefox Focus on an iPhone, it will still suggest it,
work, yeah.
because it's still Safari, by the way.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's all WebKit. So that's that. But that's the prerequisite. They have to be Apple. But if they all, if they're using Chrome or Firefox or Opera or Brave or Safari or Edge, all the normal browsers, they will all have a checkbox, normally set by default, saying, would you like me to remember passwords? The bad news of that is it's only not for apps. It's only for where you're in a browser. But that's better than nothing, kids. So get them to start using the browser password manager and letting the browser suggest passwords. Getting people to move to a password manager is the single hardest thing.
It almost always takes something bad happening to be that wake up call.
They have to be freaked out.
Yep.
Or as we say in AA, they have to hit bottom.
Yeah, rock bottom, yeah.
they help me, please. And you're their higher power. So you jump in and you say, okay, I got the answer, but you got to follow the steps. Exactly. And then maybe.
The closest I ever got to getting someone on not just Apple's, but to actually use the password manager that I use was my younger brother. And he was on it for maybe 2 months. And then he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It almost always falls by the wayside. I do it with my mom. It's just hard. It's just hard. We just, Lisa's dad, who's 81, 82, he had an iPhone 7. I took him to the T-Mobile store yesterday. We got him the iPhone 15 Pro.
Nice.
Got him all set up. I have no hope that we will be able to get him to use a password manager.
No.
Period.
No.
He, like most of you, uses, the name of his third born child, birth date, and mother's maiden name in some combination thereof. Because when I say, what's your password, he'll always tell me, and it's the same one. So
yeah, for some of my family members, I've just got it up here now. At this point, I don't even have to ask them what the password is.
Well, that's the other thing you might want to do is help them on the important stuff. Make the password and store it in your password manager.
And that's what I've done with my grandma, actually. Yeah.
So the same with my mom. She says, I don't remember my iCloud password. And I'll say, but I do.
But I have it.
So this is a hard one. You're doing the right thing. It is incredibly important that they stop reusing passwords. This is perhaps the single biggest security mistake people make.
Yep.
And
and most prevalent security mistake that people make.
Yeah. This is why people were saying, oh, we got to get rid of passwords, maybe passkeys. Passkeys is not any easier.
No,
passkeys is not.
It's because it's so conceptually difficult to understand. That's what makes it. And to set it up is hard. And then people wonder, wait, do I still need a password? How? Yeah, it's too messy right now, and I don't know how that gets undone to get people into that headspace.
And Valvy's saying an interesting thing. Valvy789 in our Discord. Well, no one's going to brute force your father-in-law's password. That's true. That's not the problem.
It's not brute forcing that's the issue here.
It's reuse.
Yep.
And password stuffing attacks. So if, as often happens, he used his password at, let's say, Target. Target had a big breach, and all those passwords got leaked out. Now, a bad guy's going to try, and mostly automatedly, that password in a bunch of accounts, maybe father-in-law's bank account. And then we got problems. So password reuse is the real issue, not having a password that can't be cracked. That's really important to remember.
And their email account. And for those people who use I forgot my password as their password, suddenly there's access to all of those accounts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really true. The email's the first one to go.
Yep.
So another thing to do with people who are not using passwords is tell them to turn on two-factor. Because two-factor is, in fact, even if you use a crappy password, it's like having a good password and a bad password. So now that's hard because you say, now you have to have this app, but at least it's kind of conceptually something they don't have to remember. They don't have to remember a master password. It's gonna they're gonna get a prompt that says, what's your authentication password in your app, and they have to remember to go to that. But I think that is, by the way, adds a huge layer of security. Even if your password is monkey123, having that second factor helps a lot.
The vault door is open, but there's a guard dog in front of it at least.
This is a huge challenge, and really it's a challenge for all of us because we've got to get people to be more secure online.
Yep.
Or the whole thing collapses, frankly. That's why with $10 billion, I really think that's the tip of the iceberg because people aren't saying,
no.
Oh, yeah, I lost $5,000.
People don't want to admit to that.
Nobody's saying that. They're not reporting it.
No.
So that $10 billion that was lost in fraud last year is probably $100 billion.
Yeah.
And 90% of it is, some of it's just
poor security management online.
But I think pure security management is a big one. Yeah. Okay. Now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to say hello to our home theater geek, Mr. Scott Wilkinsonian. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. Hey, Mikah.
It's good to see you.
You too.
Using
How you
that
guys
Heil
doing?
microphone.
Look at that. We all Heil.
Heil microphone. Oh man,
we're all Bob Heil today. Yeah.
I was so sad to see that.
Did you ever met him?
Oh yeah.
Such a sweet
Many
guy.
times. I went to his NAB parties.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. In the purple.
Those were so great.
The purple blazer.
Yeah,
Such
and
a
the
sweet
purple
guy.
shoes.
Yeah, all our love to Sarah and his family because he was a great guy, and I'm sure they're missing him terribly.
Oh, what a kind, generous, gentle man. I mean, wow.
Yeah. So let's talk TVs today. First of all, Walmart bought Vizio.
Really? I didn't see that. When did you see that?
Well, if you listen to our shows, the funniest thing, and now I don't think it's gone through yet, so it may not happen. You know, regulatory approval has to get all that.
Yeah.
But they announced that they want to. They offered Vizio $2.3 billion, but it's not for the TVs. It's for the advertising. And that's why I bring this up. They see a huge upside in owning Vizio TVs because there's a lot of ad revenue from Vizio TVs. And Walmart, of course, has its own ad network. So it's going to add their ad network to the existing Vizio SmartCast system, which has 18 million active accounts.
Yep.
That's why, by the way, and this is the interesting thing, and I think you'd concur, TVs are so cheap. They don't have to make money on the TV.
Yes. Yes. It's like printers. You know, you can buy a printer dirt cheap. They make it on the ink.
And can you imagine all the behavioral data that Walmart will have access to as well with this?
Man.
Troves.
Yeah.
Serious.
So you're going to see on the Vizio, you already do, you see ads on the Vizio home screen, but you're going to see more ads. Walmart will be selling those ads in their own network, so they make the revenue. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's not that Walmart doesn't have its own brand. They already have, what is it, ONN, their own house brand?
Of TVs?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
This isn't giving them something they don't have. It's just giving them more of what they want.
Well, plus greater brand recognition of the TV.
That's true, because who wants an ONN?
I've never even seen anyone with an ONN TV.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on.
I was like, isn't that Oprah's network?
Is your TV on? No, it's on.
It's on.
I'm going to turn on the TV. So, Vizio is a much better brand. And we like Vizio. We recommended Vizio for years. I don't know what this does to Vizio's very good, we thought, speaker systems.
You mean like the sound bars and stuff?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Hopefully they keep investing in that.
Vizio TVs, we learned in this process, also include something called content recognition technology, which allows the company to, quote, understand your streaming preferences.
We see you're watching more Iron Chef lately. Would you like to buy this knife? It's a great knife.
Exactly.
If Vizio...
We are going to see more and more of that going forward. There's just no way around it.
You know, and we've talked before, we've had questions people have asked, how do I get a dumb TV? I don't want all of that.
Right.
And all we could say is, well, just don't connect it to the internet and hope that it continues to work. There will be a day.
It might not.
That's right. There will be a day where the TV will refuse to go on unless
like some printers.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. My wife and I just switched from HP to Canon printer because the HP wouldn't work unless it was connected to the internet.
That's so goofy. Yeah. Oof.
Well, Scott, I'm sure you didn't come here to answer our questions. Perhaps you came here to answer a listener
I'm always happy
question.
to do that. Well, what I had in mind was, I don't know if you guys know The Verge, right? You probably read The Verge.
Have I ever
last week they had a really interesting set of articles. They under the banner Physical Media Week.
Ooh.
And they're talking about physical media. Now, Leo, you and I have talked many times about physical media and the death thereof. But it may not be. The reports of physical media's death may be premature. I got into it with one of these articles called The Case for 4K Blu-ray in a World of Streaming. And the article talks about, for example, Christopher Nolan releasing Oppenheimer on 4K Blu-ray, Ultra HD Blu-ray, and it's sold out. As soon as it came out, it sold out.
Interestingly,
Sorry?
just quickly on this topic, interestingly, my partner has been really aware of physical media lately, and I've just noticed the stream of DVDs have come into the home.
Oh no! Does he have a DVD player?
Yeah, we do. He actually,
your PlayStation 5 would
but
do it.
Yes, but he actually bought a purpose-built DVD player because the PlayStation is not connected to the projector that we use.
It's
to
like
watch stuff.
buying a record player so you can play those vinyl records.
And just the other day, it's like 3 DVDs came into the home, and it's because he's complained about the fact that a lot of this is he's weird taste, and so it's all stuff that's not available to watch anymore on streaming. It's like that's going to go away. I won't be able to have access.
Are you
to
guys
it, so I'm getting
buying
it.
UHD, the Blu-ray?
The stuff that he wants to watch doesn't even come on UHD, so they're just standard DVDs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, then it's very
wild to me because
obscure.
I'm okay with streaming.
Oh no,
but I understand the physical.
This is the
media.
shame of digitization, and I'm sure The Verge referred to this. A lot of movies don't make it to physical discs or streaming.
Correct.
They just are lost forever.
Lost for all time. Yeah.
I remember when I first started hanging out with Steve Martin, I thought I better watch his movies before we hang out any longer, and because I hadn't seen a lot of them, I couldn't find them. You couldn't find them. So now they're all on streaming because Steve has a big hit TV show, so they're back on streaming. But you're really at the mercy of these companies who decide they can't digitize everything. They can't stream everything. There usually are more DVDs than there are UHD DVDs, and more UHD DVDs than there are streaming. But
and the companies that stream can almost at a whim decide, well, we're not going to show that. We're not going to offer that anymore.
They can never take away your disc.
Yeah, exactly. That's his point. That's why he's been doing it, because we actually had that happen. We were watching a show, and this wasn't like, quite literally right before the end of the episode, it seemed like the internet cut out. That's what I thought happened. And the thing started spinning. And then we went back to it, and then it wouldn't play anymore. And then I did some research, come to find out the license had ended, and they didn't let us finish the episode of the...
In the middle of the episode.
And it was the finale episode. It was...
Wait a minute. Was this on streaming or a disc?
This was on streaming. That's what I'm saying is...
And wait a minute. What was the show?
It was Australian Survivor. And CBS.
Sorry,
in the
you
US,
can't watch it anymore.
Yeah, right in the middle of the or right in the finale.
So you still don't know who's on the island?
We have ways of traveling to Australia.
This is what turns people into pirates.
Yes, I didn't pirate, by the way. Well, I mean, no, I didn't pirate because that's a different thing.
You VPN'd to a
I traveled to Australia. Yeah,
you went to Australia.
Went to Australia.
That's what this does. It teaches people. But they can't help it because the license agreement is separate. I mean, it's all...
Yeah, exactly.
For instance, you can't watch the classic show, WKRP in Cincinnati, because the music was real music on it, and they didn't license it.
It was hit music, and they had to license it from everybody.
They have released really crappy versions with fake music.
Oh, that's awful. And the other thing, too, you'll notice, I've seen this a lot now, there'll be a section in almost every streaming platform, and it'll say, here until March 30th, or here until this date.
Stuff.
So that those deals are expiring.
I get emails every month from Netflix and other streamers that say, hurry up, watch this now before it disappears.
Yeah. So I could see the case for Blu-ray or even regular DVD.
I love that pun, by the way. I don't think anyone's intending to make it, but the case, because they come in the case.
I could see the... it certainly wasn't my intent. I'm not a comedian.
We're not funny.
I'm just trying to be mildly amusing. So Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, he says, is better on 4K Blu-ray
absolutely
than the streaming version.
And that's the other argument for physical media is AV quality.
See,
because the bit rate is better. It's higher. Now streaming's getting better, compression's getting better, so the gap between the quality of streaming and the quality of the disc is narrowing. But Christopher Nolan, anyway, talks a lot about how everybody thinks I'm all about the theatrical presentation, and I am, but I'm also equally about the home presentation. And we spend a lot of time on the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray of Oppenheimer to make it look as good as possible.
So that's interesting. More so than was spent on the streaming version of it.
Yes,
which he probably didn't control in any way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be compressed and done however it needs to be across.
But it's too late, right? He says you said it's sold out.
Yeah, well,
you almost have me now. I might almost buy that and a DVD player.
Certainly, this article also talks about, if you have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox X or whatever the latest one is, you've got a player in there too. But the dedicated players have an advantage. For one thing, you're not controlling the playback with a game controller.
I know. I always hate that. Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah. So, what do you have a recommendation for? I'm just looking on Amazon. They range in price. I remember they used to be very expensive, from $189 to $422.
Well, the Panasonics, my first choice is always the Panasonics.
Okay. Those are the more expensive ones. Thanks a lot.
The 820. the Sonys are fine too.
I don't want fine. If I'm going to get back into UHD, I want the best. The Panasonic has one for $200 and one for $400.
One of them looks like it's an over-the-top TV as well. That one says see streaming 4K Blu-ray player.
Oh, I don't care about streaming. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Oh, but that one has Dolby Vision. Oh, dear.
The UB820 you have up there for $400 and some bucks.
Yeah.
I believe supports Dolby Vision, and the less expensive one does not.
Yes, you're right.
However,
maybe there's one in
since
between.
you have a Samsung Quantum Dot OLED, it does not support Dolby Vision, that may not be an important feature for you.
So now I have to buy an Oppenheimer DVD, a Blu-ray player, and a new TV.
No, you don't have to.
Oh, dear. I bet there's one
the
in
Samsung
between.
TV that you bought is wonderful. But it doesn't support Dolby Vision. That's the only thing.
Now, how about my LG OLED in the bedroom? That supports Dolby Vision.
That supports Dolby Vision.
So maybe that's where I put the...
Depends on where do you watch movies more? In bed or in the living room?
Well, the bedroom one isn't in... It's in the... we have a little nook. So, because we don't want to watch in bed. I've heard that's bad for marriages. So we only have it... We only have it in like a little suite, ensuite kind of little TV watching nook.
Boom!
The
I found it.
Area.
For $250.
For
you can get one that has HDR10.
Yes,
which so it just doesn't have Dolby Vision, which is exactly what you need.
Right. HDR10 is the tabula rasa. It's the baseline.
And by the way, they're selling it. It looks like they're selling it with the Oppenheimer disc, but maybe the Oppenheimer disc is not.
Even better.
Yeah.
I am going to order the Oppenheimer disc and wait for it to come because that should be a great demo disc.
Oh, and by the way, I also need to buy HDMI 2.1 cables, right?
If you don't have them, you have them, surely.
Not necessarily. No, not for 4K Blu-ray. I don't think 4K Blu-ray is going to go above 18 gigabits.
Yeah, the 2.1 is for 8K.
Correct.
So, maybe I'll future-proof.
And this is another interesting point. This is another interesting point in the article. There was at least one person who, and I think they're right, 4K Blu-ray, Ultra HD Blu-ray is probably the last physical format. There's not going to be an 8K Blu-ray.
There's not? How do we know that?
Well,
we don't, but
a super disc.
I think we're future-proofing.
I think it's unlikely.
Okay.
I do, because, by the time you get to 8K, I mean, yes, there are 8K TVs and they will become more prominent, more prevalent. But you're getting past the resolution of the eye.
If I want to optimize my experience with my brand new TV and UHD player, is Oppenheimer the UHD DVD to buy?
Certainly one of them.
One of them. What else would you recommend?
I've heard
they're bundling it with Dune, the first part.
That's probably really
probably
good
good one too, huh? See,
yeah, absolutely.
But I watched them on streaming, both of them. I saw Oppenheimer in IMAX. I didn't.
Oh man, that must have been awesome.
Yeah, but I didn't go home and say, "Oh, geez, this streaming version is really subpar." It was very good. In fact, I preferred it because I could get up and go to the bathroom.
Right.
Actually,
right.
I preferred it because I could get up, go to bed, and watch the second half the next day.
Right. It's 3 hours long.
3.5 hours. Long movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, it doesn't need to be that long, but that's another story. All right, so they are actually offering this as a bundle for a mere $469.96. I can
Is
get
that the Panasonic?
with the Dolby, the one you talked about, the UHB thing, with the Dolby Vision.
Yep.
And the HDR10.
Yep.
So I could watch it in either room. But if I want
Correct.
Dolby, is Dolby Vision that much better?
Isn't it the same?
I think Dolby Vision is better than HDR10.
Really?
Yes.
What would Christopher Nolan do?
He'd
rent out an IMAX theater.
Yeah, he'd say go to an IMAX theater or build an IMAX theater in your house. That's what he'd say.
Our wonderful Scooter X in our Discord is giving me a link to the r/4K Blu-ray on Reddit. True
the Reddit
reference quality material. Lawrence of Arabia, the original Blade Runner, the original 2001. These are Blu-ray movies that push 4K OLED technology to its max capabilities, according to this.
There you go.
Some guy, but this is one of the things you like about Reddit. This some guy says the expert. The Shining, Indiana Jones trilogy, Vertigo, Suspiria, Jaws, Planet Earth.
Now I see Planet Earth 1 and 2. I know those. Those are
We've
reference
watched
quality.
those.
No,
in fact, when we got that projection TCL to review, that's what we watched on it. I know that because BBC took it down. So 1917, Gemini Man. This is the problem. A lot of people watch these movies for the quality, not of the movie.
Yeah, not the content quality.
But of this picture.
I'm afraid I have to agree on Gemini Man. The picture quality is stunning. Stunning.
How is the movie?
The movie itself sucks.
See, this is my problem. I'm watching the movie for the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As long as
you're doing it wrong.
Picture quality isn't so bad that you know what I really hate, and you've mentioned this before, Scott, is when you see banding in like the dark areas or the light areas where they can't quite get a smooth gradient of color.
Yes.
I hate that, and you wouldn't see that on a good UHD with a nice OLED screen, right?
Correct.
If you're seeing that by the way, streaming, which you may well.
Yes. In this article, they also mentioned. Remember that Game of Thrones episode that everybody complained about?
Yeah,
dark.
Episode, yeah.
On the UHD Blu-ray, it's not a problem.
Yes,
it was because of the streaming compression.
That's a really good point. It was really impossible to watch on streaming.
Yeah.
But do I really want to watch season 7 again on any form of medium? No. The Revenant, somebody said Avatar 2.
Oh yeah, that is again, I walked out of that movie just because it's so violent and brutal. But the quality of the DVD is fantastic.
I actually like the movie. I know you're talking about the part where he fights a bear, which is pretty nasty.
That was nasty.
And pretty realistic. Unfortunately, realistic.
Yeah, sadly so. Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite movies is Lawrence of Arabia. So I should have that on UHD.
You should have that on UHD Blu-ray, no question.
Yeah. And maybe Oppenheimer. 2001. That's such a good movie that it's worth probably having the best picture, especially because Stanley Kubrick is noted for the richness of his imagery.
Correct.
That would be worth getting it looking as good as possible.
Yep.
Have you tried the Vision Pro yet, Scott?
I have not. Have you?
Yes, this guy had one.
We both have, yeah.
And what do you think?
Well, it's not what I think. It's really the issue was a lot of people are saying the best thing to do in a Vision Pro is watch beautiful movies.
Yeah.
And those are 4K screens, right?
Greater than
each eye gets 4K.
Is 4K, yeah. So,
and Micah, did you watch a movie on it?
I watched several movies on it, and they did look beautiful. They did look amazing. It was a really cool experience. But overall, and I talked about this plenty in the review that I did, it was an incredibly uncomfortable device to wear and to have to keep wearing. And
for 2 hours or 3 hours?
For 2 hours, for 3 hours, even for me, even an hour. And it was the most relieving thing to pack that thing up in a box and send it back to Apple. That's not me trying to be funny. Genuinely, I'm so glad I don't have to keep putting it on.
Wow.
It's sad.
Now that's unique. Not everybody has that experience.
No, it's not entirely unique.
No.
That's
I was
the people
one
who
of those people.
Yeah, and the people who sent it back, most of the time, what they were almost in every case that I heard of, anecdotally, it was always because of discomfort.
Yeah.
People just whether it was like for me, it was physical. Sort of migraine,
on your temples?
migraine kind of discomfort.
Yeah,
For other people, it was eye strain, all different types of discomfort.
I'm not against the idea of that notion of a beautiful, display. It's just I don't want to wear a computer on my head.
Yeah.
And it inevitably, at least with the technology we have today, that means a heavy, uncomfortable experience. Now, it's early days, and I'm sure at some point.
Yeah, I mean, once they put it into actual just regular glasses, maybe that would be
we
good.
say that all the time, but they're not. But there's no evidence that they can do that
Yet.
The technology does not exist.
The limit does not exist.
Does it, Mike, or you guys, I meant to ask, does it present a screen in front of you? It looks like there's a screen and it's black around it or something?
Well, it depends. You have some choices. So if you're watching a film, you can choose to have it go completely dark in the area around the screen. But yes, it is definitely a screen, and you can make it. It's as if it appears very small, or you can make it huge. I had it basically my entire wall. And then you twist the little digital crown that's on it to either darken or brighten the area around you, so you can still see if you want to out of the left and right, or you can go completely immersive. And when you go immersive, you can have it be completely black, or you can choose kind of a scene. So you could be watching the movie. You could be watching 2001 while you're on the moon, for example. I always just chose for it to go completely black around me, because that.
Yeah,
And you can't make that screen bigger, but you can't make it so big that
it can't go more than just what feels like it's right with it. Your eyes
feels like you're in a movie theater.
Yeah, exactly. It feels that's the best way I can describe it.
It doesn't go beyond that.
Correct. Yeah, it's not as if it goes completely from one side of the room to the other, and you have to move your head. They want it to stay within you not needing to move your head to see kind of the whole thing.
So in the middle of April, that's 6 weeks
This
from
coming
now.
April? Okay.
Yes. I will bring in something that I ordered going from the other direction.
Okay.
Okay? Because I agree with you. I don't want to wear a computer in my head, but if they made them like spectacles, like you're wearing right now, Scott, that would be really cool. Now, remember, one of the things you have to do with the Vision Pro and all the others is seal the light from the room. And spectacles aren't going to do that. You also have to have enough horsepower to do all that, enough battery life to do it for more than 5 seconds. Decent speakers, so it's difficult to reproduce that Vision Pro experience in anything less than that helmet. But I ordered from a company called Brilliant Labs. They have a pair of spectacles that are heads-up display. So you can see the world. You're walking around looking like a dork, but you can see the world, and projected onto the screen of the glasses are images. You look a little like Mr. Peepers. You can show this my screen right now. You can see there. This is the Brilliant Labs.
I lost your video.
You've lost my video. Oh, that's because I've unplugged the video inadvertently with my big galumphing boots. The idea of this is interesting. Now, I don't believe this will be any better than the Vision Pro, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, we've got to try.
It's a lot
Give it a
less
shot.
a tenth the cost, and it's an
wasn't
open
that
source device.
Are you able to
There you go.
read something
Wasn't
that's
that
close to your
the
eye?
idea of Google Glass? You remember that?
Yeah, Google Glass is a screen above your right eyebrow or left eyebrow. This is actually projecting onto the screen of your glasses.
Okay.
And
can you get prescription lenses?
yeah,
in?
I did. I ordered it with my prescription.
It's odd because I cannot focus on, if I put my hand up to my eye that close, I can't focus on
Yeah, I don't know how this is
sort of the
gonna work.
wrinkles of my
But
hand.
I mean, they're showing. Imagine you're looking at a food, and it shows you the nutrition information of the food.
Right.
See, my hand has to be about here for me to be able to focus my eye on it. So that I hope it works.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see if it works.
This, to me, is what people are
That's
looking for.
what they're looking
more.
for. Yep.
But admittedly, you're not going to watch a movie in these.
Right.
That's not what these are for.
No.
If you want to watch a movie, you're going to need something somewhat like the Vision Pro. I mean, maybe they can make it smaller and thinner and lighter, but it's still going to have to cover your face so you don't have ambient
seal
light.
out ambient light.
And that's the other thing too. By the way, I watched both 3D and non-3D content in it just to try them out. And the thing is, right now, the way that we do 3D is still with this idea that you have this screen in front of you that things are popping out of, whereas what I would like to see 3D. It's as if you've walked a little bit into the scene and it's happening around you. It all is still very, I'm reaching toward you, but I'm never quite touching you. And in something as, supposed to be transformative as the Vision Pro, I guess I was expecting more. So the 3D content still felt like I was at a theater watching it.
That depends on how they make the 3D content. They're making it with stuff poking out at you. That's stupid. But the more effective 3D production is when the 3D goes back behind the screen.
Yeah.
And that depends on who made it and what they're thinking about.
I watched Avatar,
intelligently.
The Way of Water, and I just was expecting more out of it because that's supposed to be his whole thing, right?
So what's interesting is Alfred Hitchcock did produce one and only one 3D movie. I wish I'd gotten this information to you before you sent back the Vision Pro, Dial M for Murder, and he shot it in not red-green 3D, but the way that we think of 3D with polarized glasses, modern 3D. But this was way back when.
Wow. Anthony, you got to watch that.
Yeah, Anthony still has his. He didn't send his back, did he?
Nope.
We were talking about it on MacBreak Weekly because Jason Snell has watched it and said it's as Alex Lindsay said, it's quite interesting. So that might be an example of a 3D movie not shot for surprise and effect, but to actually give you 3 dimensions. Should be interesting.
That could be interesting. I'd love to hear about that.
I mean, that's in the hands of a very accomplished director.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Wilkinson, we are so pleased that your show is now available to everybody who listens to our network. Home Theater Geeks. It started in the club as a club-only venture, but we've decided to take those shows like iOS Today and Hands on Macintosh and Home Theater Geeks that were club-only and make the audio available to all. So you can subscribe. If you go to twit.tv, you'll see that's one of our shows. You can subscribe to Home Theater Geeks. I have to say, if you want the video, you should join the club. You
should, because I go to great pains to get some really great graphics.
So there you go. It might be worth it. But at the same time, you can at least listen to it. And I think we've seen a number of shows really leap in downloads because of this. So we're very happy about it.
That's great.
Yeah. So listen to Home Theater Geeks wherever you get your podcasts. You can search for it. There is a feed. We use the old feed. I think we reused the old feed. So if you were subscribed to it back in the day, all of a sudden you're getting new episodes. And if you're not in the club and you want to see video, twit.tv/clubtwit, so you can see the video of this guy and this guy and enjoy all the fun of all of our shows in video. Thank you, Scott Wilkinson.
Thanks you bet. So happy to see you.
Happy. Is Passover coming up soon?
Yeah, April, I think.
Scott plays the shofar, so he's got to get your ram's horn, whatever you do, oiled up. Get it ready.
That comes in the fall. But,
that's the fall. Okay.
One of these days I'll get it.
I think one should play the shofar all year round, personally.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you, Scott Wilkinson.
Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Take
guys.
care.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I thought this Brilliant Labs thing was kind of interesting. We'll see.
I think it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Again, it's another take on it, and it's
coming in from the other side.
Yeah, and basically. It's clear it's specific to the tasks with which it's going to help.
Right.
And it's not trying to be an everything device.
And this is something that benefits greatly from AI.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that really was a missing piece in Google Glass. Meta kind of does it with their Ray-Bans. I don't know how well, but the idea that you're seeing something and then AI can interpret it and give you more information. I think that becomes very interesting.
All coming together right now.
Yeah. And it may be that Apple coming at it from the high end and companies like Brilliant Labs and Meta coming at it from the low end, they might someday get something that meets in the middle and be a real product. I just, like you, I'm one of those people that has a visceral reaction to putting that on my face. I feel like that was a showstopper for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I didn't want to do. When we come back, speaking of shows, I got two items to show and tell, things we've talked about in previous episodes. I brought in some show and tell next on Ask the Tech Guys. But first, a word from our sponsor, CacheFly. How many times have you heard me say on all of our shows, bandwidth for Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by CacheFly. At CacheFly.com. Well, it's true. CacheFly is our content delivery network. For over 20 years, CacheFly has held a track record for high-performing, ultra-reliable content delivery, serving over 5,000 companies, including us, in over 80 countries. We've been using CacheFly for more than 10 years. In fact, we probably wouldn't exist if CacheFly didn't exist. We love their lag-free video loading. We like the hyper-fast downloads. You probably don't notice, but your podcast comes in faster without interruption because of CacheFly. And we love the friction-free site interactions. CacheFly is the only content delivery network, CDN, built for throughput. Ultra-low latency video streaming. If you're doing video games or any kind of streaming like Twitch or YouTube, CacheFly is amazing. They can stream your video to over 1 million users at the same time with less than 1 second latency. It's also great for gaming because they can deliver the downloads faster, but also while you're playing, zero lag, zero glitches, zero outages. You got a website or you've got images somewhere that you want to load fast, mobile content optimization automatically will do image optimization as your site loads, and that way it'll load faster on any size screen with just the right size image. You get flexible month-to-month billing for as long as you need. That was a big help to us because we didn't really know what our bandwidth use would be. And then once you figure that out, you get discounts for fixed terms. Point is, you design, as we did, your own contract when you switch to CacheFly. CacheFly delivers rich media content up to 158% faster than other major CDNs and allows you to shield your site content in their cloud. We've been doing that for some time, ensuring a 100% cache hit ratio. And with CacheFly's elite managed packages, you'll get the VIP treatment. Your dedicated account manager will be with you from day one, ensuring a smooth implementation and reliable 24/7 support when you need it. Learn how you can get your first month free at cachefly.com/twit. Say it with me, CACHEFLY.com/twit. Thank you, CacheFly. So a couple of things I wanted to show. Remember we had the caller who had a Vision Pro. Mm-hmm. The Vision Pro battery gives you
3 hours. It actually depends on what you're doing. 2 to 3 hours of
maybe not
use.
Enough to watch Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Certainly not enough to do a cross-country flight, let alone fly to Switzerland. So we were talking about external battery packs, and I've been doing a little searching and reading, and this is the most powerful. It's using GaN technology, so even though it's pretty heavy, this has a huge amount of juice in it. This is a lithium-ion battery from Anker, which I think is great because it has a charging base with pogo pins, so you keep that plugged in. You can power your laptop and power your phone and some other Type A device from it while it's charging, and it's got the same connections on the battery. So when you travel, it's a little heavy. I think you'll agree that's probably too heavy to carry around with you.
Take it from you can.
But if you're on a plane, this would be a great choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little pricey. It's about $300, depending. Shop around. Anker often has great deals. But I was really impressed by this.
Does it? It shows the charge on the front at the top. Does it also show?
It's got a display
when you plug stuff in? I assume it's showing.
So you get a lot of information. It's got a little display on it, which I really like as well.
You can see what it's charging at for each of those devices. Which is nice.
Yeah, and it has so much juice, and it has, because of power delivery, can deliver juice on all the ports that it really gives you I think a really good boost of power. They make up now even giant batteries for home power systems. But let me show you this product. It's an Anker power bank, the Anker Prime, and they make a couple of them. This is the 20,000 milliamp hour. 200 watts. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the price really wrong. You know what? I think it went down. $129.99. Now, at that point, this might well be worth having because you've got 20,000 milliamp hours. You can power a laptop. It will do 100-watt charging. So it's what your laptop might expect.
Yeah.
A total of 200 watts. So you can have 100-watt charging on a laptop and still plenty of power to fully charge an iPhone or a phone.
That's nice.
You could charge an iPhone 3.5 times, a Galaxy S23 3.4 charges, a MacBook Air fully charge up.
I wonder if you've got the bigger one because this says 27,600.
Oh, I might have gotten the newer big. That's why that's why mine was very expensive. So you can get a 20,000 milliamp hours. Maybe I got the big one.
And this says Bluetooth.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's for. I guess so you can see what's going on with your phone.
That's kind of cool.
And it's power delivery, so it's fast charging. Yeah, I let me just see which one I got, because I do think
I think you got
I
the
paid
250.
27.6. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. I got the even the bigger one. Yeah. But you can get a smaller one. Depends what you need. In fact, you probably 20,000 milliamp hours be more than enough, and it'd be a little lighter too.
You can also use that app to make sound, so that if you've lost it, it'll beep or something.
Oh, it does Find My Power Brick.
Yeah, exactly.
Why my bag is so much lighter now? I don't know why. And, well, it's Find My Power Brick. So that I wanted to show you that. This would be a good choice for somebody who had a long trip ahead of them and wanted to keep your Vision Pro going. So that's the answer to question number one. You remember Susan came on? She's the one who does a great job scanning people's photo displays. And I said, I need one for my mom. And you and Susan both said, oh, we recommend this. This is the Nix Play. And this is their biggest screen. This is 15.9 inches. Let me turn it on. It has a lot of nice features, by the way. When you leave the room, it will automatically turn off, which it's done.
That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, so it doesn't waste power or waste the screen when you're not in the room. I think I've turned it on. Let me wave at it.
Hello.
It will hold now. There is Lisa was disappointed to learn it only holds 2,000 images, but I think that's more than enough.
Yeah.
If you're rotating through the images, even if you're doing 5 a minute, 2,000 images is going to get you 400 minutes. That's a pretty long period of time to go without repeat.
And I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure with the app, when you set up playlists, you can kind of have it toggle between them, so you technically can have different amounts.
It has to upload them, but it'll store it on the thing. Did we unplug it? Is it still plugged in?
It's still plugged in. Let's see.
Did I kick it? Well, anyway, it does have sound. I have to say, I recorded a video. The sound's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's alarming because all of a sudden you hear a voice coming tinny little voice coming out of the back of your
the
thing.
speakers are not great.
Do not do audio
I don't do
videos.
any videos on it at all, because I do think of it as a picture frame. That's how I like it to be. But yes, it is an option. And if you're not sensitive to bad audio, then
maybe.
Grandparents.
I recorded
might be
it. Hi, Grandma. This is your new picture frame, and it went, "Oh, Grandma." So, but it's not. Of course, at the price, I got 2 for $350. Mm-hmm. One's going to my mother-in-law. One's going to my mom. At that price, you're not going to get a super OLED screen.
Exactly.
But it's also pretty good, and since it's mostly snapshots and slides being played, I don't know why I can't get it to turn on. I might have unplugged it. It does have Wi-Fi. You pair it to the Wi-Fi. So I think I'm going to bring this out because I'm going to have to set it up for my mom. But I did copy over about 1,500 pictures from our family slides going way back when. Have I broken my mom's? You know how to use this thing. Now this stand is another negative. It's kind of flimsy, and it falls right out. It looks normal, right? It's all in.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Yeah. Oh, it's on.
It's on now. So does this snap in at some point?
Yes, it does.
Oh, but I just never. Oh yeah, there it goes. I never snapped it.
Some of us read all of the instructions.
Oh, instructions? What are those? So what I do like about it is you have an app that you can control everything, including what pictures are on there. You can email pictures to it, which I think is great. So I'm going to give out that email address to all our family so that they can send mom new pictures. I have 1,215 slides in there, but I can also do some settings, which is really nice. And they have I won't show you all of the different settings because there's quite a few for how they rotate the
how they animate
and stuff like that.
You can change the sort of animation that's for them.
That's per frame, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can also, when you upload new photos to it, you have the ability as well to crop them right then. If you don't want it to do sort of that Ken Burns effect, you can have it be set up that way.
I have it right now playing all the photos, but as you say, You can change that, play the latest 100 photos or whatever. And you can change it on the fly. So I can change it at home with mom being 3,000 miles away,
to the internet.
and it will then change it. It has a huge number of transitions. This was kind of a fun one, the snapshot transition, where it piles them up as snapshots. You can say how long the images last. For mom, I'm going to probably set it to a minute or even 5 minutes because she's going to want to, see the picture, and she looks at it and then it disappears, right? It is a touch screen, so you can favorite. You can have, I have turned it off, but you can have it have the clock, and you can have it have captions if your pictures have captions, which is really a nice feature. I have the brightness turned all the way down, so let's turn it all the way up so we can see it a little bit better. Now, I think that's a pretty good image.
Yeah, there you go.
That's doing the snapshot thing, so it's
and now
piling
you can
them
see
up.
from here.
It can zoom to fit. It can do all sorts of things. It has different transitions in it. I think this is a wonderful little frame. I thank you for recommending it. Thanks to Susan for recommending it. And I know mom's just going to love this. These are the old family slides we digitized. And I'm going to send, I have another box of photo albums to send to Susan.
I love this thing. Again, specifically that email feature, I was able to give it to my siblings. And then every once in a while, mom can get a photo dump of new things going on.
Yeah. I simplified this. The snapshots, I thought, didn't do justice to the images. So I just have it to fit to screen, and then I have it to crossfade. They have a variety of, you can do random transitions.
Yeah, I think I do
crossfade. All sorts of
crossfade.
weird, different transitions on this thing. Let me make it a little faster. This is 5-second intervals, so you see all the different transitions. But what a great way for, and now she can favorite these. She can pause it. So she has some control over what happens.
And if there's ever a photo you don't like, I'm pretty sure from there you
can also delete it.
Yeah, with the settings option in the middle, you can say, okay, don't show me that one ever again.
Oh, that's nice. So she has some control over what's going on, display mode and so forth. I think this is going to be a lot of fun for an elder, a senior, who loves these pictures but doesn't want to haul down photo albums all the time. I've got a variety of different transitions happening now, and some of them are dopey, so I just went to the crossfade. What do you use?
I have mine set to crossfade, and I have all of the on-screen stuff turned off. So connection
I don't
mode
really
is
want
off,
to see the
clock is
clock or
off,
the date.
captions are off.
So then it's just like a photo frame.
Exactly.
But it changes every once in a while. And I think if you set it to a minute or 5 minutes, it might even be kind of a surprise every time it changes. She might say, oh, there's a new picture. How did that happen? Where did that come from? So I just thought we had talked about it. I thought it'd be nice to,
I'm glad you brought it in.
that. Yeah, just so people can see what it looks like. I was pretty pleased at the quality of the images. That's actually one of Mom's paintings. It looks a little blurry because it's not a photo. I put some of her paintings in there as well so she could see those.
Nice.
She gets really excited when she sees that. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, Mikah, for the recommendation. That is the Nix Play frame. They have a variety of sizes and price points, so you can choose. And I don't know if this is still on, but when I bought it, it was 2 for 1. And so I just said, well, I'll take 2. I'll figure out where the other one goes. And it turns out, Lisa said, I'm sending that to my mom.
I love that. That's good.
Another call? Let's do it.
All right. I see somebody going on a hike right now. So, Dan, if you're hearing this, I'm going to pick up on you right now. So, take a moment.
Dan likes to take his cat for a walk, as I remember. He is out there. He's actually running, it looks like. He's jogging. Can you hear us, Dan? Come on over. Come on down. I think he's not listening.
Oh, something is happening now. We see fingers.
Oh, fingers. He's waving.
There's gestures
press
happening.
Do I need to press the button? Hold on. Okay, we're moving Dan into the Stargate.
There we go.
Dan is moving.
Hey now.
Dan.
Hey
hold
now.
on.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Where are you running, Dan?
Well, I started in one natural area, went through the neighborhood, went through a second natural area, and now I'm walking on the junior high school track. So
nice.
You caught me on my Sunday stroll.
I love that though. See, you're multitasking. Why wait on hold sitting around when you could take a nice walk?
Hey, get those steps in, right?
Exactly. Very much so. Yeah. Looks like it's been raining. Where are you calling from, Dan?
So I'm in Portland, Oregon. We have a mix of rain and snow. We don't often see snow well into March.
Yikes.
We had a huge winter storm beginning of February that knocked power out and really hit the region hard.
I remember that.
So we're still kind of healing from that. So everybody's freaking out, Leo. Mikah, they're freaking out here.
Weather. You just never can get settled into one pattern. So
here's my Portland joke. It's got the best summers of anywhere I've ever lived. The other 11 months of the year kind of sucks.
That's good advice. I may not move to Portland after all. So what can we do? What can we do for you, Dan?
Well, I'm afraid I bought a Mac for one reason, a little Mac Mini to supplement my photography workflow.
Nice.
And I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to be able to filter my photos based upon the album I put them in, or if I have performed any edits to my photos, all on the iPhone. All I want to do is be able to go into Lightroom Classic and filter my iPhone photos, because you kind of overshoot a little when you're out with your iPhone. So I've got this massive amount of photos, and typically, I'll do some edits on one and I'll throw it into my favorites. And, it's an easy way to find it. But then I'm trying to find a way. I already have a system where I back up all of my photos to my Synology. Then my Synology gets backed up to Backblaze. I've got a pretty robust workflow setup, but the one piece that's missing is I cannot find a way to sort or filter based upon what album or if edits have been performed on an iPhone photo.
So you first want to filter it and say, this has come from an iPhone. And then from there, you want to filter it further by if it has had photos or if it has edits done to it, / which specific album it's from.
Right. Well, I already know that they come from the iPhone because that goes into its own folder on the Synology. So I can point Lightroom Classic to that. And I've got it pointed to all of my iPhone photos that I've taken or all my mobile photo stuff. So that's kind of nailed it in place. But, when I go and look at that within Lightroom Classic, I just see, every single photo. And when I go into the EXIF data and try to filter on any field,
even attribute,
attribute, there doesn't seem to be one for album.
You're only copying the images. You're not copying the catalog. Because remember, Lightroom depends very much on the catalog file.
Well, no, I'm taking every single photo that I shoot on the iPhone. I use
You're copying it to your Synology, but you're
right.
But at that point, detaching it from the Lightroom catalog. You have to tell Lightroom that your images may be living elsewhere, so that the catalog and the images match. Because the catalog is really important to Lightroom in terms of, for instance, that's where the edits are kept. That's where the EXIF may or may not be kept. It can't all. It's not. There are many attributes, some of which are in the EXIF or the IPTC data, but some of it is stored in the catalog. So Lightroom has a way. It's been a long time since I've used this, so you'll forgive me if I'm not saying it properly. But Lightroom has a way of saying my photos are not just stored here; they're stored elsewhere. In this case, your Synology. But you want to make sure Lightroom knows that, so that it knows that this image is also in the catalog, which is stored locally. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I think I've got that part nailed down.
Okay. But you still don't see the attributes you want in the search file folder?
I can see all the attributes for the iPhone photos. It tells me the focal length, the time.
But you should
day,
also see attributes that are like keywords. Let's say a keyword. You put a keyword in here that is something stored in the catalog. You should also be able to see that with the stuff stored in the Synology if it's set up properly. Do your keyword searches
I don't
work?
Keyword anything on my iPhone.
Well, try it. See if your keyword searches work. Because if they don't, then your catalog is not seeing the photos on the Synology.
I mean, where would you even keyword something on an iPhone?
Oh, I see. You haven't imported them into Lightroom yet.
No, I don't use Lightroom mobile at all. I'm old school, Leo, like you.
I'm confused. So you have not yet put those iPhone photos into Lightroom Classic on your desktop.
I have a sync routine that automatically, kind of sucks them off my iPhone over the air and then puts them into the Synology. I then go to the my desktop and I say synchronize my catalog, and it goes and it looks at all my directories that I have on my Synology, and it'll synchronize my camera roll folders and my Sony A7 IV RAW pictures and my DJI folders. I can just say synchronize this catalog.
So you're saying synchronize it in Lightroom.
Correct.
So in effect, importing those into Lightroom.
So I thought if I went on to the Mac where I'm in the Photos
Do you
app,
see them in the Lightroom thumbnails after that synchronization?
absolutely. I have full control. I can
So they
jump
are
in.
now imported. And that's good. You're doing exactly what I suggested, which is let Lightroom know there's multiple places, and one of them is the Synology. So it is now, you've synced it from the phone to the Synology. Lightroom has now imported them into Lightroom. It's in the Lightroom. And you should be able to, using Lightroom search on almost any attribute. If you don't use keywords, it won't work with keywords, obviously. That's one solution to your problem, is to use keywording to further the search. Right now, it'll search for anything that's stored in the metadata of the photo, right? Including GPS and all that. Yeah.
But what I can't seem to do is, in terms of my workflow, when I shoot a phone or I shoot a photo on the phone, when I'm out in the field, I will do some edits on that photo, get it looking perfect.
Yes.
What are you editing
And
the
when it's
photo
perfect,
in on the phone?
Just on the iPhone, using the native iPhone tools.
Okay, yeah, none
When
of
I'm
those
out on my
edits.
hike.
None of those edits will propagate into Lightroom, though.
They do, though. And that's what is, I wasn't even going to go there, Leo.
Okay.
But, so
I'll trust
I
you
will
that they're
see-
propagating. Okay. You're not, and
Yeah,
you
I
said
will
you're not
see-
using Lightroom Mobile. By the way, Lightroom Mobile is not classic. Lightroom Mobile is cloud. So they're different kinds of Lightroom.
No, I don't use Lightroom
But you
at
don't use
all,
cloud.
except
You don't
for
using
on my
CC.
PC.
Right.
No,
so
no,
and,
none
so
of that
and you're
stuff.
not using Lightroom Mobile, which is good because that would really not
No.
work. So you're using Apple's Photos app to do any edits. Then
No. Oh, yes, on the iPhone.
Yes, on the iPhone. And then you copy the photo, edited photo, onto the Synology and synchronizing with Lightroom.
That happens automatically using the OneDrive app on
Got
the
it.
iPhone.
Got it.
It just automatically syncs every
No
single
problem.
photo.
Yep.
And I do see the photos that I've edited on the iPhone. I'll see those edits.
You
over
see the
on-
edits. So Apple must
in
be
Lightroom
somehow
Classic.
bundling the edit in a way that Lightroom is seeing. So that's good. Can you see the original as well as the edited version?
No, you'll see
Okay.
a version of it. And what I don't know is between the formats on the iPhone, you have the
It's
HEICs, you
yeah.
have the JPEGs, you have all those different versions, as well as an MOV for the
Right.
live
For
photos.
movies. Yep.
But what I don't see is just a single EXIF attribute that says, "Hey Dan, you put this in your favorites album." And I want to filter on those.
You want to
Or
favorite it on the iPhone and then have Lightroom know that it's been favorited.
Right.
Got
Okay.
it. Okay. That's
So that's not going to work.
yeah, that's not something you can do.
But that's why I bought the Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very clever. You're almost there. I like
so
what you've
close.
set up. So you've got this nice workflow that's automatic. Take a picture. Automatically, eventually, you'll get to the Synology thanks to OneDrive. And then automatically, you'll sync it into Lightroom so you have it available. I don't know if you're going to get the original. My guess is that it's synchronizing the edited. I can't remember what what Photos does, but I believe there is an original. It keeps the original.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that you're not importing the original to the Synology. You're imported the edit to the
Yeah, it would depend on the OneDrive settings.
I'd have
that you're
to
using.
I'd have to experiment with
Yeah.
that. But assuming since you're getting the edit, you're getting that. What you want is I want to put a little heart on it on the iPhone, and then I've hearted
or
that
put it in
in
any other album as well.
Yeah. So you wish your hope, your desire, your what you want is basically for the Photos app on your phone to add to the EXIF data. This is in the
Right.
favorites album. This is in this album.
This is the experiment. The experiment now would be maybe I don't think favoriting is going to make it through that cycle, but if you added a keyword or a caption, that might. So what
Can
we
you
have
do
to,
that in the Photos app?
Well, that's you can do. What
I don't think on the.
can you do in the Photos
I don't
app on the
think on the
iPhone?
Photos app on the iPhone.
Can you give it any keyword? I don't know how much of what you do on the iPhone is going to get.
You can
brought
add a
all the way-
caption.
So maybe if you put a thumbs up in the caption, and then we're able to search the caption on Lightroom. We got to find something that survives that cycle. Okay.
Because it goes so far as to say this is from the iPhone 15 Pro Max.
Yeah. That's all in the EXIF. That's why. That's in the EXIF of the photo. So it's preserving the EXIF. And that's why I'm wondering if there's something you can do in photos on the iPhone that will get preserved along. Favorites, I think, does not. Because that's information that goes into your iPhone Photos album.
Even a flag that says this photo has been edited. Like, that would be good enough. Like, I don't even need to see the edits or see where it is.
Because you have two different systems. You have two different systems, and you have to figure out which information from the iPhone is going to make its way into Lightroom. You know the EXIF does. There is another field called IPTC. If you could edit that would make it. There is perhaps if you set a caption on that. It's just worth an experiment. Say edited in the caption. See if that's going to make it. You need something that's going to survive that import cycle. That's all.
I'm going to give you another suggestion here. I think you should type up this question that you have, or you can actually just say, hey, I asked you this question on Ask the Tech Guys, Mikah. Send that to iOStoday@twit.tv, because I wouldn't be surprised if my dear fellow co-host Rosemary Orchard has a suggestion for how to do this with shortcut. Yeah, because I wouldn't be surprised if she has a way that you can tell it, this is the album, and I want you to add EXIF data to this album.
Can you edit EXIF data in the shortcut?
That's what I'm looking at, to see if it's possible to do.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Say that again. Edit the EXIF where?
On the iPhone.
On the iPhone.
Because we know the EXIF, the extended information fields from the iPhone photo get imported into Lightroom. They make it through that import cycle. We're just looking for something besides the heart that's going to survive. I don't think the heart does. I'm looking on my iPhone to see.
It's fine, even if it's another album.
Well, you could do that.
I could create an album that's.
Do the albums propagate?
I don't think so.
No. So what we would basically do is we would create a solution for you where you would use the keywords field in the EXIF data, and that keywords field could be the name of the album. And then in Lightroom, because that information gets brought over, now you're able to create a filter that says, if it has this keyword for this album, please show me those photos. So what I need to do, we don't have time to do it live, is I would talk to my co-host Rosemary, who's very good at creating shortcuts. There may be a way to create a shortcut on your iPhone that just looks at a specific photo album, edits the EXIF data, and adds the name of that photo album to the keywords field in the EXIF data.
And maybe it looks at the heart and and says favorite.
Because favorites is also technically an album. So when you favorite a photo, it gets added to the favorites album. So you would just add that as well. This is the favorites album. Yeah.
That would be nice.
That's probably going to be a solution.
iOS at
iOStoday@twit.tv. Basically, all you need to say is, Mikah, we talked about this on Ask the Tech Guys, and then just put in EXIF shortcut. If you mention that, then I'll know that that's what this is.
So the key, as you understand conceptually, you've got two different systems. You've got a Lightroom system and you've got an iPhoto system. And you're trying to see what information in this fairly complicated workflow you've got, what information will be preserved all the way to Lightroom. We know that the extended information in the photo does get preserved. So it makes sense if you could store it as a comment in the EXIF, for instance, that it would make its way to Lightroom. And at that point, you could search for it in Lightroom. Igor in our
workflow that. Go ahead.
Igor Ackerman in our Discord says, I did do this using a shell script and a program called Exifer, E-X-I-F-E-R, that modifies the EXIF. He added an EXIF field to his photos with the album name. That's not going to help you because he did that on a Mac. We want to figure out, and I think we can, if we could do that with shortcuts, which means you could have a shortcut on the iPhone. You'd press the shortcut and it would say, everything that's in the favorites folder, add a tag to the EXIF that says favorites or whatever you want, and that would get propagated all the way around.
My hope is to have some sort of script that'll do this automatically. So there's one single sort of landing place for things that I've edited, so that then at my website, danstark.com, you can go there and go to danstark.com.
You're trying to automate the whole process. I love it. As a good geek
And then
should.
there they are.
There's always a decision.
Exactly
I
right,
face
yeah.
this decision all the time about, okay, how much work is this to continue doing this manually versus spending the energy, which you're spending right now, Dan, to figure out a way to do it automatically. And if you do it enough manually, at some point it crosses over and like, I'm spending enough time doing this manually. I should see if I could write a script to do it. Almost everything is scriptable. I mean, I have a deep faith. The iPhone is a little funny. You know, once you get onto a computer, the sky's the limit.
Exactly.
But the iPhone has, from Apple's point of view, for security reasons, lots of limitations on what you can do.
The only way that I found is to go through on the Mac, check each little box separately.
Yeah, that's not.
You know, do a
Yeah,
manual
you're doing
selection,
it manually, right? And you want to speed
and
that
then
up. Yeah.
do a save as, and you download all those off iCloud.
Here's what I envision with the help of Rosemary Orchard and Mikah Sargent, that you'll have a script. By the way, if you really want to automate it, you could attach the script to the action button on your iPhone 15, that when you press it, it runs that script. It takes all of the photos that are in the Apple Photos favorite folder, adds some, it doesn't have to, by the way, be the word favorites. It could be just adds a check mark, for instance, to the EXIF file, the EXIF information of that photo, so that when you do the whole import and you search in Lightroom for that check mark, lo and behold, all your favorites are right there. Now,
That's all I need is a period, a comma.
yeah, just
a hyphen.
something that you could search for.
Anything.
Yeah. So my vision is that you will have either a button on your screen, or you could even make it an action button that is a single script that automates that process. I bet you could do it. The only real question, this is always the question you have to ask with Apple's shortcuts is, does it have a command to modify the EXIF?
Exactly.
Because I'm sure it has a command to find the favorites, but does it have a command that it could then modify the EXIF?
Well, I can't be the only one in this, space where the iPhone is rapidly approaching, the quality of the best full frame.
I don't know if you
cameras.
saw the pre-show. I was showing the pictures. Lisa and I went and saw Madonna at the Chase Center in San Francisco on Wednesday, and I think I got some of the best pictures. I was trying to decide, should I bring a good camera? They won't let you bring a professional camera.
No way.
Into the Chase Center. And so I thought maybe if I have a point and shoot that's pretty good, I could bring that. And then I thought, you know what? Let's just see what I could do with the iPhone. And I have to say, blown away. The iPhone is perhaps the best concert photo album
The
in the
low light
world.
performance on that. tiny
Yeah,
little
because
sensor
the
is
low light
amazing.
performance is incredible. And the 5x zoom means you can be right there on the stage. And concert lighting is notoriously difficult because it's both simultaneously very bright and very dark. It's not as bright as it feels like in the concert.
Yeah.
You need like 38 stops of.
You need like 38 stops. You're a photographer. So
Absolutely.
I was blown away by the pictures that we were able to get. And these are unedited. I haven't edited these. Lisa posted them on her Instagram and on her Facebook. But these are amazing photos from the concert floor, and the iPhone handled the light beautifully. Couldn't have done better. This is unedited. So yeah, it's the best. It's an amazing camera this is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but it's an amazing camera. Now don't pixel peep it, because as you zoom in, you'll see very quickly that it starts to fall apart.
Well, don't pixel peep my negatives from.
Well, that's true
1984
also,
either.
right? I mean, yeah.
All these.
But if at a normal size,
It's
at a
all
normal
relative.
viewing size, it looks good. If it'll look good on that 15-inch screen back there, then you're fine. And I think that all of these, I'm looking on my laptop on a pretty high resolution screen, hold up quite well. Look at this. I mean, this is the kind of thing. The lighting in this is impossible.
Wow.
Impossible.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah. So and it's a
No fair, Leo. It's too easy.
There's a lot
You learn the hard way.
of movement there. This would be very hard to do even if I'd brought my good cameras. This would be almost impossible.
You wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't
don't
get
think
it.
you'd get it
Yeah,
as good as you are.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing
Well,
what you can do. And this isn't even raw. I didn't shoot raw. I just shot the standard. So I did turn off, and I
Right, you got-
recommend this live photo. When you're in a low light situation, live photo does not help.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I turned that off. But otherwise, I'm just
Well, you
shooting
guys,
around
I'm
with it.
glad when I call in for help and the experts do not have a quick answer.
That's
Yeah,
That
you
tells me that
you
I'm
got
down
a
the road.
challenging thing you're trying to do there. You're trying to do something, and I admire this. You're really trying to automate a workflow And how are you going to get it to your website?
Well, there is a great tool in Lightroom Classic where
it builds a
if
website.
I have a folder, I can right-click it.
Yeah.
Well, I can just say an upload to my Smug Mug too, where
okay. Yeah, I have the Smug
you can
Mug.
have different folders in Lightroom.
Yeah, I had the Smug Mug plugin. Jeffrey, that was written by Jeffrey Friedel, who wrote the book on regular expression parsing. He's a very talented person. Here's another one where the light was very, very challenging because it's so dark in the audience. And the bright light from the spotlight and lighting her, and even the beams of light, the volume of light. It's really quite amazing what you can do. Yeah, I mean, I was blown away.
You and 7,000 other people have that exact same picture.
Exactly. It always gets me at a concert. People are shooting the concert. Madonna had 20 cameras there. She had a camera on an automatic conveyor belt that was following her around. I mean, you don't need to make video of this. The motion picture will be out soon. Dan, enjoy the rest of your walk. Thank you. Dan is obviously a serious photographer. Joe, who is our street photographer, Joe in the Discord, also says he shoots log with the iPhone. He shoots in his video. He shoots log footage.
Wow.
That's even more sophisticated. It's really pretty amazing. He's also asking the question that all of us Lightroom users have been asking for years. When are they going to kill Lightroom Classic? Adobe says they never are. They just now have two products. I stopped using Lightroom because Adobe makes me nuts. And I now use DxO Mark and Capture One, and I like them very much, but it's not as easy, as good as Lightroom. Lightroom was the best. We were very lucky. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pause for a moment, and then Johnny Jet, travel guru, will join us. You're watching Ask the Tech Guys. Mikah Sargent in the left, I'm in the right, and in the middle, Johnny Jet, our traveling man. Hello, John.
Hey, guys.
Oh, your sound is awful.
Is it?
Holy cow, you're overmodulating.
It's very loud.
Just turn yourself down a little bit there.
I got a new computer.
Oh,
congrats! That's
very
good.
nice. This was
How is this?
yeah, perfect. This was a necessity after the travails.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, have you solved all of that?
For the most part, I think. Knock on wood.
Johnny got scammed, identity fraud,
the whole 9 yards.
Nightmare.
The worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean,
sincerely, the worst type of fraud scam thing. Yeah, certainly that I've heard personally. So I'm glad you're doing okay. Sounds like you've started to figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. So, and by the way, after I got off the phone with you guys, I did some more digging and I looked at my phone, not my phone, my email, where people logged in, and someone logged in from New York. So I obviously I logged out of all my devices, changed my password, obviously.
Good.
And so
as we have
that
mentioned,
might have been it. I don't know.
Once somebody gets your email, all bets are off, because if you're using that email for recovery, password recovery, they suddenly have access to everything.
Yeah, and what they'll do to make sure that you're not hip to it is they will immediately not just delete the email where they're resetting passwords or getting passwords, they'll also delete it from the deleted file so that you don't even know that they've been going through and resetting those passwords and stuff.
Yeah.
Totally.
Bad people.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this part, but they sent an email to my accountant.
Whoa.
From me. You? That's how we figured it out.
I'd like to transfer all my funds to a small corporation in the Canary Islands. Signed,
have a new
Jonathan Jett.
hire. Please send $5,000 to this person. And my accountant sent it.
No!
The only reason who caught it, the only person who caught it was Intuit, who does the accounting for them. And they called me up and said, this seems like fraud, is it? I go, of course it's fraud.
Hallelujah.
I've never done that in my life. And then I said, there's no way my accountant would have done it. They're like, just contact your accountant.
It's thank goodness Intuit
because I see it all the time.
And then you and your accountant came up with a special phrase that you'll use from now on.
Yeah, that I won't be doing it ever. Yeah. So don't do it.
Don't ever do
it.
Anyway, he's like, it's rampant right now. So look out. If you're a small business owner like me, you really, the technology, and I guess it's AI that's really messing things up in terms of all these scams that are coming out.
Yeah, after I talked to you, Johnny, this last time, I was looking through the news, and 404 Media had done an entire investigation of a site that was using a service, I should say, that was using AI to generate fake IDs, exactly how you had described. Where
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
remember. So I talked to Joseph Cox of 404 Media later in that week about that very thing, and basically this guy was getting people to just pay a little bit of money, and then they would generate things that looked like passports, that looked like IDs, and it was giving them access to different online accounts. So yeah, it's very rampant, and unfortunately generative AI is making it even more easy and quick for these fraudsters.
The good news is after Joseph Cox exposed them on 404media.co, they shut down.
They did shut down.
Bad news is they just went to a different place.
Yeah, they shut down after insisting that their service had never been used for negative purposes.
Yeah,
okay, buddy.
Yeah. It was called
So, by the
Only
way,
Fake.
speaking of internet security, Best Buy sold me on Trend Micro internet security. Do you recommend them?
I don't.
Have you heard of them?
Generally,
Trend
we have.
Micro.
Trend's very good. They're established in the business. Generally, we don't recommend internet security tools because they mostly get in your way. But in your case, maybe it's a good idea to have it.
I haven't installed it on my new computer because I was waiting to hear from you guys.
You're using a Windows machine yet?
Yeah.
Go ahead and install it,
Yoga
John.
9i.
There is a subscription fee, as you know, and you'll have to pay every year. But Trend's good. Trend Micro is one of the best. Whether it will protect you is another matter. It'll certainly help.
Yeah, I can help with your email for scams.
The big risk with this is sometimes people go, "Oh, I'm protected," and then do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You still have to use your noggin.
Be vigilant.
And be vigilant and stay out of trouble, even if you're running this. But yeah, it's not too bad. Occasionally.
And how about Wi-Fi on the plane? Do you use a VPN?
No. Just
you don't worry about that.
Maybe I'm a fool.
I think that's how I got hacked one of the time.
Maybe it is.
I'm very careful. I use a VPN when I'm.
If I were John Jett, I would probably use a VPN on the airplane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do often, but not always. Sometimes I forget.
To me, it's like wearing a mask. I just think that it's a good idea. Maybe in that moment it is helpful. Maybe it's not, but I do it. Yeah. I guess the question is, why not?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Why not? Anywhere you're on a public Wi-Fi network, there is the risks. It's less likely on an airplane because the guy's got to be on the airplane with you. But he's sitting on the airplane. He's running. There is an inexpensive device you could buy called the Wi-Fi Pineapple.
Wi-Fi Pineapple.
And the Pineapple can, if used properly, see everybody else on the plane. And the weirdest thing it can do is it can see all of the Wi-Fi access points you've joined that you're part of on your device, suck that up, and then impersonate one of them. And your device will say, well, forget this Delta Airlines Wi-Fi. I'm home. I'm home, baby. And join his Wi-Fi Pineapple. And now all your traffic's going through him. Now, how useful is that really is a question because, your email's encrypted, so he can't really see your email password. In the old days, you might have sent that in the clear, but you no longer, when you go on Facebook or Gmail or any reasonable service, your stuff is no longer sent in the clear. So he's not seeing the plain text. He's seeing gobbledygook fly through. Nevertheless, it's belt and suspenders. It doesn't hurt.
Okay. And that, your photos of Madonna were amazing. And I used to travel with a big Nikon and I stopped because unless I'm going on like on a safari, I'm not bringing a huge camera anymore. I just carry those shots were amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I have one quick question about that. I used to have an old download of Picasa. Should I download that? I know they're done, but
they're gone. No. Don't use Picasa anymore.
Okay. So what do you recommend? Because I love doing those batch edits and, taking my photos down in size in a whole bunch when I'm trying to post them to the internet.
You're on Windows now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to use on Windows. I use Acorn on the Mac for that. But on the Windows side, I don't think Microsoft Paint. I'll let the chat room come up with an answer for this. Don't
download a bootleg version of Picasa.
No, Picasa's been dead for a decade.
I know, but someone created one and I was using it.
No, Johnny, come on.
Johnny.
Vigilance.
Knock it off, Johnny.
Vigilance.
You should know better.
Maybe that's how I got hacked.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Seriously.
If
you're
that for
downloading
7 years.
somebody's old version of Picasa, if it's really an old version of Picasa, it isn't going to run. But B, it may not be Picasa at all. It might be Picasa plus a little payload.
Yeah. Picasa plus Sukasa.
Picasa is my Sukasa.
I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah, Johnny.
Me too.
Knock off this bad behavior, man. You ought to learn.
I've been a bad boy.
I've been a very bad boy. One of the reasons people use Lightroom is for that. But I don't recommend it anymore because, it's not cheap. You have to subscribe these days, and it ends up being a couple $100 a year.
I mean, all I used Picasa for was to, grab up 30 photos that I'm going to put in my post.
I know what you should get.
Hit email, and it would email me.
How about MyLeo?
1,200 pixels of them.
This is free for the first computer if you want to put it on your phone and other stuff too. MyLio. It'll do a lot of this. It's actually, I think it was inspired by Picasa. Does much of the same
MyLio?
MyLio. MyLeo.
Okay.
Former sponsor. I think they're going to come back because we love them.
After this, they better.
Yeah. MyLio.com. First one's free. So you can use it fully. It has AI. It'll do all the recognition. You start putting faces in there. Say, here's my wife, here's my kids. It will then recognize all the other photos as well without sending it to the cloud. It will do backup. I'm not sure it'll have the exact Picasa features you're looking for. You can categorize. It has auto categorization, which is really nice. So you don't have to, say I want all the. I have to put mountain in all the captions. It'll automatically find all the pictures of mountains. So it's much like Google Photos is these days. And whether it will do the mass email, I don't know. But it's worth looking.
Take a look at that.
Yeah.
But speaking of being hacked.
No one don't download bootleg software. No.
Okay, good.
Ever, never, ever. Okay.
My buddy posted a picture of his boarding pass. He had a cool Air France boarding pass where it put both flights on the same pass. So, instead of 2 tickets, he just gave him one.
I've never heard of that before. That's cool.
Yeah, so he posted it, which was cool, but he didn't blur out his confirmation number or his name.
Uh-oh.
I go, what are you, crazy? I logged into his reservation. I could see everywhere he was going. I could have deleted it.
Yes.
I could have changed the seat. Yes. I almost upgraded him. If I had enough money, I would have upgraded.
No. Never take pictures of tickets of any kind and post them until the flight is over. Then do whatever you want.
Even then, don't do it because they still have they can get your freaking flyer number.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want to mess
up.
Don't leave your. I guess you probably don't leave your ticket stub in the seat front.
Never.
And take it with you, tear it up.
I used to see celebrity. I would grab a celebrity sometime. I used to do LA, New York every other week, and they would just some of them would just leave it on their seat.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys crazy?
That's a good little souvenir, though. Johnny Depp. Frequent flyer number 439991111.
I keep all my boarding passes.
I think that's probably smart. Shred them.
Well, first of all, you want to keep them because in case you don't get credit for your flight, for your freaking flyer miles.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You can then, contact the airline and say, this is my ticket number and this is the date. There's proof. And you always want to make sure. But I also just keep it just for a keepsake. I mean, I'm kind of a pack rat.
Right.
But I have almost every single flight I've ever done.
This is clever.
There's I love this. Joe in our Discord just posted this Twitter account called Debit Card. Please quit posting pictures of your debit card. He retweets pictures people post of their credit cards.
Come on,
why would they post them?
Because they are like, oh, look, I got a new card.
Because they don't know any better, Johnny.
That they should.
Why would you download pirated software, Johnny?
Listen,
they don't know any better. Don't do that, even if you're really proud of your credit card and how it looks.
Yeah, sometimes people, they put their personalized photos on there.
They're nuts.
I shouldn't say anything because I have, on the shows, entered my credit card number on camera to order something and had to cancel the credit card before the show ended. That happened once or twice or a few times.
I mean,
so I shouldn't say anything.
And by the way, I do usually still use a paper boarding pass along with my.
Why?
just in case, there's been times where my phone either locked up or my battery died or it just wouldn't read with the reader.
I really
keep
hate
it as a backup.
Standing in line behind somebody who just can't get their watch to show the boarding pass underneath.
So I have it as a backup. And also just to have as a keepsake, so I know, which flight I took.
Do you have them framed on the wall?
I've been everywhere.
No, I have I'm telling you, I have a bin of them all.
That's great.
I actually wish I laminated some of them because I have
it's actually
my first flights, LA, Hong Kong.
So the Madonna concert was a Ticketmaster. They don't give you paper tickets anymore. You can if you don't have a smartphone, I guess, because what they want you to do is have the ticket on the smartphone or the watch, and they scan it as you go in. But you have to go to the box office and have them print.
Yeah, so you have to wait
a paper ticket for you if you don't have a smartphone.
Okay, if you don't have a smartphone.
Yeah, it's like will call.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
I'm going to see the Wildcrats this weekend.
With which of your beautiful children? They are.
PBS.
You're stuck with them.
Is it like the Wiggles but American?
No, they're all animal based.
Oh.
They're gonna tell stories, I'm sure. My kids are obsessed with
Somebody's asking if you have a beverage cart behind you. You do.
Oh yeah. I got this. It's called My Sky Cart.
He took it off an airplane. He said, "You don't need this, do you?" And he goes off the airplane with the beverage cart.
No, actually, a guy like 5 years ago sent it to me. It's from, I think, Florida
it's
or
really
Amsterdam.
cool
I can't remember.
to have a beverage
but you can have they have all different airlines. You could have one that says Pan Am on it.
Nice.
I think it's myskycart.com, I believe.
So
but,
we have about 5 more minutes. What else is going on in the
my
world
last
of
thing talking
Johnny
about this paper ticket just reminded me. I just posted a video. It was one of my tips. There's a guy who was showing what you can do with your paper ticket. You can put it in your seat back in front of you in case your flight does not have in-flight entertainment, which a lot of planes don't now. Make sure you download all your movies and entertainment. You can take your paper ticket, put it in the seat, close the tray, and then take your phone cover off, slide it in, and you can just have it holding there. If you're stuck, so that way you don't have to sit there and hold your phone the whole time.
So you turn your paper ticket into a phone holder. Is this on the website?
Yeah, actually, I made a post out of it.
Paper ticket.
People do it with barf bags too.
I've seen people do it with barf bags.
So it's basically it's the same.
Don't do it with a used one, obviously. It would be a fresh, unused bag.
Anyway,
MSS bag.
And then there was another thing that's pretty cool that I saw this week. Have you seen these smart trolleys?
No.
So
I've seen people riding around their suitcases at an airport. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I've done that before. I actually tried the promo
it's so dopey
in Europe 10 years ago when they came out.
Yeah.
They're fun, but I don't think airports really allow them now.
Oh, that's sad. Oh.
It's too much of a hazard.
Yeah.
But there was a guy in Hyderabad who posted of this smart trolley, and they also have them. They started in Hamburg. It's a Danish company, and they have them in Munich and Vienna, where they give you the cart for free, and there's like an iPad on the front of it.
Oh.
And it will sync with your information. It will tell you when your gate posts, because a lot of times in Europe, you don't know which gate you're going to be at until like 20 minutes before the boarding time. So a lot of people are just hanging out in the main lobby and waiting for their gate to post. So this way you can just cruise around, shop. This is the whole reason why they're giving them away. So you'll shop. The CEO is on there's a video. The CEO is on record saying our free trolleys are able to lift retail sales thanks to their ability to guide passengers around airside shopping areas.
They do this in grocery stores too, or at least they tried to. Oh, this is nice. It's free. I like.
Yeah, and so it tells you where the restroom is. It will tell you.
Oh, I love it. You got a map on it. Oh, nice.
And they'll also send you any specials or special offers.
I want this. Oh, this is great.
And supposedly they had a trial run in San Diego, but I'm not sure if it's still going on. I have not seen them, but I would love to check them out.
Very nice.
I think it's brilliant.
So it's coming soon to an airport near you.
I think so.
My Yellow Plate, right? Is that?
No, the company is ITS.
Oh, that was just the Twitter.
Intelligent Track Systems.
Oh, okay. That was just the Twitter handle. Intelligent Track Systems.
Cool.
So,
very nice.
Anyways, that's pretty cool.
Johnny Jet, he's our traveling guy who is never again going to download pirated software,
Definitely not.
who is never again not going to use a Wi-Fi in an airplane, who is never again going to hand his passwords out on business cards, and he's no longer...
I'm not going to post my ATM card.
No longer going to take pictures of his ATM cards and put them on Twitter. Good. We've got you all locked in. Johnny, it's such a pleasure. JohnnyJet.com is the website. Lots of good articles every day about travel and getting the most out of it. He's also got a great newsletter, and you can use his tools to find the best flights. JohnnyJet.com. Where are you going next, John?
I just booked a lot of travel. It's coming up.
Oh, boy.
So next week we'll talk about, or next month we'll talk about, how to get cheap flights to Europe and things
This
like
is
that.
the time,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, you want to shop now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, we our former salesman, Max, just got a $199 trip to Australia
Wow.
What?
each way. So
What airline's that?
I don't know. He's there right now.
Sacred Airline.
I mean, that was a mistake fare? It had to be. I have not heard
it was a
about this one.
deal. It was a deal.
What?
Yeah.
You don't find $199 fares to Australia unless it's a mistake fare.
Did I get that wrong, Lisa? I thought that was what she said, but maybe I got it wrong.
No.
No. not
$199.
possible. But he did something dumb.
You can't take a car from where you are to SFO.
He went down for Mardi Gras, which apparently is a big
In
deal.
Australia?
In Australia, I don't know. Mardi Gras. And he's coming back in 8 days. And I said, 8 days? You won't be over your jet lag yet.
Oh.
Just stay up all night and don't bother trying to get on Australian time if you're doing it that way. Fun.
You saw Taylor Swift's quote about jet lag. Did you see that?
No.
Jet lag is a choice, she said during the Super Bowl when Kelsey asked her, I can't believe you made it. She's like, jet lag is a choice. And there was someone else said jet lag is for amateurs. Some famous dude long time ago.
Yeah, I suppose if you're rich and famous, you don't have to go to bed when the other people do.
Yeah,
you get a private jet, lie flat
that,
seat.
and you probably also get
Sleep
I don't
on the
know,
plane.
injections of, you get a banana bag anytime you want it and whatever else.
I did the world's longest flight, the very first one from Singapore to Newark. I'd never been that jet lag in my life. It was 18 and a half hours. And it was when the movie Spider-Man came out. And literally I was walking across the street in the city and I thought I saw Spider-Man crossing with me, and I did a double take, and it was just some dude wearing a red cap.
That's amazing.
Okay, that's hallucination.
That's a good story.
So what, do you have a remedy for jet lag?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Be Taylor Swift.
I could not sleep on the plane. First of all, you want to try and sleep and always want to stay on local time. Back then I'd change my watch to whatever it is. You try and eat meals. I usually do.
Do
it
you
a couple
clench
days
your
before
toes
I
on
go
the
to bed
carpet?
early.
Do you do that one? Do you know about that
No.
one?
Which one?
You clench your toes on the bare feet.
Yeah,
on
I've
the
heard
carpet.
that. Listen, there's not one thing that really works. It's everyone's different. But when I go to the East Coast, I try to take a very early morning flight, like 6 a.m. because it's 9 a.m. there. So it forces me to get up at like 4 a.m., which is
that's not
7
so bad.
a.m.
3 hours.
And then, it's Europe and Australia and Asia.
That's where it kill you. Now, what do you think causes jet lag? Because it does sometimes seem like going one way is worse than the other.
Well, for me, it's usually going there.
Oh, just wherever.
Actually, no. Coming home is.
I've always been told
messy.
it's flying. That if you fly with the sun, it's not as bad
Flying
as if you
west
fly
is
against
better.
the sun. It's
Yeah,
better to
flying
fly
west is
west than
Totally.
to fly east. I've also heard that when you fly, you leave your soul behind because it can't travel that fast. So you're without your soul until it catches up.
I gotta get out of here.
Johnny Jet, have a great day. Safe
I gotta get
travels.
out of here.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Johnny Jet.
I left my
Thank
soul
you.
behind a long time ago, kids. You can live without it. It's for amateurs. We are done with this show, this program. I'm sorry to
flew
all
by.
the people hanging on who had their hand raised, but we will get to you next week.
We will do our best to get to you next
that
week.
time, that channel. We do the show every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. But as you can see, it's really 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. But it's too hard for me to do the math. So I say 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time, and 1900 UTC. We are streaming now for all of the shows as we do them on YouTube, youtube.com/twit. But we only start the stream when the show starts, and we end the stream when the show ends. There's no interstitial content. That we save for the Club Twit members. If you're not a member, can I please beg of you, join the club. We really appreciate we really value our club members because they value us. It's a way of helping us stay on the air. You do get benefits. All of our shows ad-free, plus video of shows we don't put out in public. That's also the Twit Plus bonus content, stuff before and after shows and fun things we do in the club only, like that escape box that we were doing there. You also get, and I think this is one of the best benefits, access to the Club Twit Discord, a wonderful place to talk with other Club Twit members, not just about the shows, but about all the great things we talk about as geeks, you know, everything from anime to movies to my new UHD DVD player. But your $7 does not go to that. It goes to people like Mikah and Johnny and everybody who works on our network, Jammer B, our studio guy, John Ashley, our producer. It keeps us on the air because advertising dollars are dwindling, for not just for us, for everybody in this medium. So we have to turn to you. But I really appreciate it. And I think we've kept it low enough and given you enough value that it really is worth it. If you are one of the almost 1 million people who watch every month, only 11,000 members so far, that means there's quite a few of you who are not yet members. Please, twit.tv/clubtwit. I thank you so much for your support. We will be back next week.
We will be. You know what we could do?
What could we do?
We could, for the people who are hanging around at the end, they didn't get their question answered. This is just a thought. We have a secret phrase we come up with every week that gets edited out of the final one that goes out. And then if that person calls during the week, 888-724-2884, or sends us video, audio, or an email with that secret phrase, they get to bump up since they had to wait the whole time. Just a thought for the future. But yeah, you can call during the week, 888-724-2884 to leave your voicemail. You, as we mentioned, can get in touch with us the other ways as well. atg@twit.tv is one way to talk to us in multiple formats.
The secret phrase this week is jet lag is for amateurs. Boom. Jet lag is for amateurs. All right. You know who you are. Use that secret phrase. That's an interesting thought. A concept.
Yeah.
I like it. That there's Mikah Sargent. He'll be back with Tech News Weekly every Thursday. He does iOS Today every Tuesday with Rosemary Orchard. You can listen or watch in the club. He also, of course, is a regular. He's the guy on this show. If you would like to call anytime during the week, you can leave us a voicemail at 888-724-ATTG. You can also email ATG or ATTG, either one, at twit.tv and send us your email. If you want to attach a video or audio question to that, please go right ahead.
And I want to make one note for those sending emails.
John Ashley.
Try not to send attachments of screenshots because I can't really easily. Well, I could print them out, but try not to attach too many screenshots. I had 1 or 2 emails that had tried to attach like 5, 6 attached screenshots.
Well, you can also, we could figure out a way that
we'll figure out a way.
Send me a link and I could look at it on the screen or something. But yes, yeah. Well, screenshots if you really think it's going to help us solve the problem, that would be all.
Yeah, the context if we need.
Yeah, sometimes we need that context. Let's see. So that's the phone number. That's the email. That's the voicemail. Anything else? That's when we're on the air.
Yeah. It's funny because I just said all of that. And so,
did you? I wasn't listening. I was thinking of the secret phrase.
I know. That's why I asked in the chat. Can you tell that both of us have ADHD?
My brain was completely focused on the secret phrase.
As I was saying those things, I was worried that you had just said them too. So, yes, those are all the ways you get in touch with us. Consider becoming a member.
I'm sorry. I do pay attention to you.
No, and I do too. But sometimes we have other things that we're trying to focus on, and so we both have had that happen. I'm not trying to call you out specifically.
We repeat each other because we know it's hard to remember this information, and we want to give it to you. Many pork chops. What?
Oh, squirrel. Oh, okay.
And we're a little ADD. I'm Leo Laporte.
I'm Mikah Sargent.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Meanwhile, have a great Geek Week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.